online, could you give us a thumbs up if you can hear us? Oh, sorry, Mike. Apologies for that. I just gavelled in for the initial convening meeting for the Moana-Kaka'ako Neighborhood Board. Mr. Ben Sullivan and Ms. Sherry Ram, thank you for giving us a thumbs up, acknowledging that you're able to hear us. The purpose of the neighborhood board system is to encourage civic engagement and improve our neighborhoods so it can be a place where we could live, play, work, and thrive. Let's do roll call. Ms. Camelia Gomes.
Okay. Chang, not here yet. Chi,
Present.
Arenas, Hashimoto,
Present.
George,
Present.
Lee,
Here.
Rand,
Present, thank you.
Rice,
Here.
Vanderbrink,
Present.
9 members present.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Gomes. Moving on to election of officers. Officers that are going to be elected today are going to serve from July 2025 to June 30th, 2027. We have positions for chair, first vice chair, second vice chair, secretary, treasurer, and any other officer that the board determines it may need to conduct its business. Let's start with the position of the chair. Any nominations? Member Freitas.
I second that.
Okay, nominated, seconded. Let's do a voice vote. Is that okay? Yes, we'll do a roll call vote. Ms. Gomes. Okay, sorry, any other nominations? Okay, roll call vote, Ms. Gomes.
All right, you can call out Lee when I call for your name. Chang, not here. Chi,
Lee.
Arenas,
Aye.
Hashimoto,
Lee.
Hernandez,
Lee.
George, Rand,
Lee.
Rice,
Lee.
Vanderbrink, and Lee.
Lee,
Okay, congratulations, Kathleen.
thank you. And thank you to the board for trusting me for another 2 years. I appreciate it. Now nominations for first vice chair. Would anyone like to nominate a member for first vice chair? Member Freitas.
Rand would like to nominate Rice.
Okay, nomination for member Rice. Member Rice?
I was gonna nominate Dale Vanderbrink. I don't care. I'll pick a vice. Pick a vice.
Okay, we have a position for first vice chair. Nominees are members Rice and Vanderbrink. Any other nominees? So we'll do the same procedure. We'll go down roll call and just mention whoever you're voting for by last name.
Yes. Okay. Not here yet. Chi,
I can't choose both, can I?
There's two. Note for the board, there's a first vice chair and a second vice chair.
Rice.
Arenas,
Member Rice.
Hashimoto,
Rice.
Hernandez,
Member Vanderbrink.
George.
I abstain, sorry.
Okay. Rand,
Member Rice, please.
okay. Rice,
Can I vote for myself? I guess I better. Rice.
Pink, Chair Lee.
Rice.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, so 6 votes Rice, 2 votes for Vanderbricks, 1 abstention. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Member Rice. You're now a first vice chair. Nominations for second vice chair.
Chair, may I nominate Sir Vanderbrink?
I second.
Okay, nomination for Member Vanderbrink by Member Farina, seconded by Member Rice. Any other nominations? Okay, same process, Ms. Gomes.
Chang, not here. Chi,
Vanderbrink.
Arenas,
Vanderbrink.
Hashimoto,
Vanderbrink.
Hernandez,
Vanderbrink.
George, Rand,
Vanderbrink.
Rice,
Vanderbrink.
Vanderbrink, Chair Lee.
Vanderbrink.
Okay, congratulations.
Congratulations, Member Vanderbrink. You're now the second vice chair for 2025 to 2027. Moving on to nominations for secretary members. Any nominations for the position?
I
secretary?
nominate Member Farinas.
We have one nomination for Member Farinas. Any other nominations for the position of secretary for the board? Okay.
Sir, would you like to throw your name in the hat?
Ask what the responsibilities are.
Chair, we will.
Ms. Gomes, can you go over the responsibility of the secretary?
Okay, so for the secretary, your job is to review the draft minutes and check if there's any edits before they're sent out for the meeting. And then if the chair, first vice chair, second vice chair is not present, you will be the next person to run the meeting.
Okay, so we have two nominations, Members Farinas and which last?
By George. George. Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to clarify what last name he's going by because I had it initially as Morala.
But as my name tag has it right now, I'll just go for George by now. Currently.
Okay, nominations for secretary. We have Members Farinas and Member Jorg. Same procedure.
Okay. Chang, not here. Chi,
George.
Arenas, Hashimoto,
George.
Hernandez,
George.
Jorg,
Georg.
Ran,
Jorg.
Rice,
I guess I must go with the majority. George.
Vanderbrink,
George as well.
Chair Lee.
Jorg.
Okay, congratulations, Member Jorg.
Hey, congratulations, Member Jorg. Moving on to the position of treasurer. Nominations.
I'd like to nominate Member Farinas as treasurer.
Okay, we have one nomination for Member Farinas. Any other nominations? Okay, Ms. Camilla Gomes.
Chang is not here. Chi,
Farinas.
Farinas,
Farinas.
Hashimoto,
Farinas.
Hernandez,
Farinas.
Jorg,
Arenas.
Rand,
Farinas.
Rice,
Farinas.
Vanderbrink.
Farinas.
Okay, Chair Lee.
Member Farinas.
Okay, congratulations, Member Farinas.
Okay, it looks like we are done electing our officers. Congratulations, board.
Yay.
This is how we're going to move on for 2025 to 2027. Moving on to public safety reports, we have a representative from the Honolulu Fire Department.
Thank you, Captain Casey Ferreira from the Honolulu Fire Department. I'll be delivering the stats for this month. Structure fires 1, wildland brush fire 1, activated fire alarms 12. We had 160 medical responses, 4 pedestrian accidents involving motor vehicles, 6 motor vehicle collisions, and one hazardous materials incident. I'll now be delivering the fire safety tip for this month. Wildland fires significantly threaten Hawaii's landscapes, wildlife, and communities. With dry conditions and daily activities increasing the risk, it's crucial to take proactive steps to prevent and mitigate wildland fires. Lighten the load. Reduce the risk of ignition by maintaining your yard and cleaning your gutters to remove fuels. Clear, cool, and contain. Clear vegetation 10 feet around campfires and barbecues. Keep a shovel and water nearby and ensure fires are completely extinguished before leaving. Watch the spark. Ensure machinery such as chainsaws and weed trimmers and other recreational vehicles with operating spark arresters are maintained regularly. For more information, you can visit these online resources. So you got the Honolulu Fire Department at fire.honolulu.gov, Department of Emergency Management, honolulu.gov/DEM, and Hawaii Wildfire Management Organization, hwmo.org. Are there any questions for the Honolulu Fire Department?
Thank you, Captain Farah. Member Vanderbrink.
Yes. Sorry, let me turn this way.
Let's do the Member Vanderbrink first.
Oh, yeah, we just try and do the board first, then we can do any community concerns. Yes, sorry, we'll just go first and then we'll allow you to ask questions. So I just want to ask, under this list, the Sheridan Park Playground fire, is
Yeah.
it considered a structure fire or what would it be considered under the list you provided?
Not sure how they classified that one. You could go to our website and do that search and you probably get more information there. Depending on what was involved initially, how the fire first got called in, quite often they're called in as a rubbish fire initially and then escalate and get reclassified. This particular one, I'm not sure what that
Okay.
report was eventually classified as.
Yeah, I would think it would be structure and nuisance, but I would probably want to check the website to be fairly accurate.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Just to make sure, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you for that question, Member Vanderbrink. Member Freitas.
Thank you. Captain, if a neighbor, a member of the community alleges that, say, sprinkler systems in a building or alarm systems are non-compliant, what's the step? What's the process? Do they bring that to your attention?
If we visit the location at the company level, then by all means, that's a concern that could be brought to us and we could follow up with our upstairs folks. I think the best thing would be to reach out to our website, the HFD Neighborhood Board, honolulu.gov. They're kind of the liaisons between the community and Fire Prevention Bureau, et cetera, and you'd get a lot more information probably going that route versus just at the company level, which we are. Yeah. If there
Thank you.
is a concern. for
Yes,
sure.
thank you very much.
Thank you. Member Chi.
Thanks for being here today.
Sure,
Just
thank
a
you.
really quick question. For businesses and schools,
Mhm.
is there a legal requirement for there to be fire extinguishers in every room of the building or? Yeah, I just heard conflicting laws about this and I.
What is
could
the
get some
law you heard?
clarification. The law I heard is that it's requirement to have one fire extinguisher in every room. I wasn't
So
sure if that's
depending
true.
on, yeah, depending on what the occupancy is, a 75-foot travel distance between a fire extinguisher, so commercials and schools for sure, needs to be in place and of course, certified. So annually, it has to be serviced or replaced. But enough travel distance of no more than 75 feet based on the occupancy. Yeah. Okay, we had one back here.
Thank you, Member Chi. Now we have a question from the community. Yeah, if you can go up to the mic and introduce yourself.
So I'm talking about the 401.
Wait, Mr. Washburn, up to the mic, please.
Okay, my name is Ian Washburn and I'm from Atkinson neighborhood. I live at 419 Atkinson. Closer to the mic. Okay, let's see. How's that? But I want to look at the guy who I'm talking to.
Okay, so
Anyway,
how about this? I stand right here, you stand by the mic. and
Okay.
look up there.
all right.
All right.
Okay, so 401 Atkinson, the central.
Point of order,
The question is,
point of order.
Sure.
Comments are supposed to be directed to the chair.
Okay, we'll allow this comment. Thank you.
anyway, the question is, do you guys do inspections? I know there's the 5-story Mackett Memorial Building, which is a hotel. So you guys, I'm pretty sure, do inspections there periodically for the alarms and so forth. The question is, there's a whole bunch of other buildings there that even though they're not being used for programs and services of normal Y activities, there are people, in fact, in and out of those structures. Those like sprinklers, fire extinguishers, smoke alarms, pull things, do those get inspected in that part of the building?
It should be if it's occupied.
Well, it's been closed down for 10 years. I mean, it's not occupied per se, but there are people that mill around. For example, in the parking structure, the parking structure, there's a big room right above that, and there's no windows. And you can see from that all the AC units are destroyed. So anyway, they have no ventilation there, but they're using it for facilities. So does that fall within your purview to see that people are not occupying rooms for sporting activities that have absolutely no ventilation, for example? So I think what I'm saying is that whole structure, I would like to see, or what do you think it's possible, to put it in the form of a question, do you think it's possible to make a point of inspecting the whole facility for all these things, for interior sprinklers and controls. Anyway, and the other thing is there's a fire lane out front, that circling, that's been blocked since about the first of the year. And your standpipe, is that what you call it, what you guys hook up to? Do you know that that's been blocked by a food truck for a long time? Like, you guys can't get in there. And do you have any concern about that, or can you do anything about that to clear out that driveway so it can be used the way that it has been used for decades as a loading zone and a place for first responders to show up? Otherwise, you got to block the number 2 lane of Atkinson East. And that's a busy road, as you know, because it's coming off Highway 92, State Highway 92, otherwise known as Moana Boulevard.
Mr. Washburn, thank you for your question. We'll have
Okay, yeah, sure.
Honolulu Fire Department, and then you can address that later in community concerns.
Yeah, so I appreciate the question. It's kind of multifaceted. So the YMCA is identified as, which way would you like me to fix him? Oh, okay. So anyway, that is a target hazard for our administrative area, of course. The building management themselves are responsible for ensuring that fire extinguishers are annually tested, pull stations, and anything with regard to the fire alarm system is kept up to date. When we come in and conduct our fire inspections, which for an occupancy like that is our Fire Prevention Bureau, Codes East, they would be the ones to identify anything that is not in compliance and then issue notices that they should be remedied. And if they're not within a certain amount of time, we issue a notice of violation. So with regard to that particular address, 401 YMCA, it's gone through so many different evolutions in terms of partial shutdowns and all those things, which I'm sure you're very familiar with. My best advice to you would be, if you have these concerns, and again, you had a multitude of them, I can give you the website to reach out to our public information officer, their office, and we can get things routed in the proper way, if you in fact have concerns and if they are indeed in violation. Yep, I'll give it to you right here. You have a cell phone? Or you know,
Captain Farah, thank you for responding to that, and thank you
Sure.
for being here this evening.
So if there is a fire at the YMCA, we will block all of Atkinson if that's what's required. That little driveway, we typically would not use anyway, just because it'll pin ourselves in. And as fire conditions were to evolve, we need to make sure that we're at a distance where we can operate.
Yeah.
If the fire department connections are being blocked by food trucks, then by all means, that again, through inspection, would be identified as a violation. Yeah, does that answer all the questions for you? Good. Okay. Anything else?
Okay, thank you for being here this evening. I
Thank
appreciate
you, folks. Appreciate it.
Okay, moving on to Honolulu Police Department. I thought I saw Officer Osterchuk online.
Yes, I'm here. I'm not sure you guys
Okay.
can see me, but I can definitely see you and hear you guys. Sorry for not being there in person. We have extremely high call volume today. I'll be going over the of June stats and the previous month of May. So last month we had 10 motor vehicle thefts. The previous month was 18, so that was a drop in 8. Last month we had 3 burglaries, and the previous month was 4, so that was a drop of 1. Last month we had reported 75 thefts as compared to the previous 81, so that's another drop. Last month we had 17 unauthorized entry to motor vehicles. The previous month was also 17, so that stayed about even. Last month we had 12 assaults. The previous month prior to that was 19, so that's another drop. Last month we had 2 assaults, also 2, so that remained the same. Last month we had reported incidents of graffiti, 20 the previous month. So all traffic fatality as compared to this time last year, it was 22, so it's actually doubled from the amount of time last year. So I encourage everybody to practice defensive driving, be more on the lookout of your surroundings, keep your head on the swivel when you are driving, not just straightforward. Try to wear a seatbelt because a lot of these deaths include people not wearing their seatbelts. And also just be aware of what time of day you are driving. You are going to be out at night driving. Expect there to be people still under the influence of intoxicants. So we suggest that you start being more defensive, develop more defensive driving habits than offensive where you're speeding or trying to get somewhere quickly. Leave earlier than you need to so you don't have to worry about it. A lot of times when we see people beat red lights or run a red light, you will actually catch up to the person in the next light, if that makes sense to you, because that's just the way the traffic lights are set up. And you kind of think like, wow, that guy just ran a red light, but here I am in the same spot he is 2 minutes down the road, right? So other than that, is there any questions for me?
Thank you, Sergeant Osterchuck, for being here this evening. Member Rice.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Officer Ostertruck. Couple of things, please. One, I just want to thank HPD for helping the area in Kaka'ako by Fisher, Hawaii, which had been loaded with houseless folks. And I'm assuming that HPD was helping some changes there. And we just got a nice letter from John Kwok, who's the Director of Operations for Fisher, Hawaii, thanking HPD and the board for helping and trying to change the situation over there, and it appears that it has. So thank you for that. On today's Kaka'ako Next Door website, there are 2 notices that I want to bring to everyone's attention, especially HPD. One is ABC Food Distribution Center on Ilaniwai Street has open dumpsters, and the homeless are jumping in there and pulling out expired food, bringing crime and a lot of mentally ill people into our community, and please help to get it stopped. I walked by a month ago and they had tents set up just smoking meth like it was normal in the middle of the day. They all wait for the food to go in to the dumpster and then they fight over it. They have been notified about this for quite a while and ABC hasn't done anything. Is there something that HPD can do to observe that location and that dumpster, or somehow communicate with ABC stores that they should really put a lock on the dumpster? They put a lock on the dumpster that solves the problem.
Thank you, Member Rice. Sergeant Osterchuck.
Yes, thank you for your concern. Those tents that you talked about, we actually cleared those out a couple of weeks ago. Those tents are no longer there. However, the residently challenged people still do hang out in the area. It's not much of an eyesore because the tents are gone. I was not aware about the dumpsters being open, and honestly, that is my assigned area where I patrol as a sector sergeant, and so I can't really recall any visible dumpsters that are there. I will go make note of it and check tomorrow when I start my shift. We have several times reached out to ABC about trying to trespass. The issue with them being on that property of the ABC store is that they're not on the public sidewalk, but actually on the property of ABC itself. So sometimes it's hard to get in contact with those members or get them to cooperate to issue trespass warnings. So that way we can legally enforce any kind of trespass laws or place them under arrest or cite them for being on that property. So it's a work in progress. It's hit or miss, honestly, but
Right.
we are well aware of it, and we did get rid of those tents.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sergeant Osterchuk. Member Vanderbrink.
Hi, thank you, Sergeant. I wanted to ask generally, I've been seeing more police cars in the Don Quixote area and the parking lot and the surrounding areas. I wanted to ask, has there been an increased amount of activity that required police to be called there?
The daily dealings that we have in that general area is usually theft from either Don Quixote himself or the nearby Ala Moana Mall or Walmart. You probably been seeing a lot of police activity because we do a lot of foot pursuits, chasing these people on foot after they do steal. All downtown district area, that area right there is probably where majority of our thefts come from, and it's coming from those stores, either from the residently challenged people or people who are addicted to substance abuse and stuff like that. So that's why you're probably seeing so much heavy presence. And as with summer too, and the kids out, we get a lot more shoplifting too in that area.
Okay, thank you. If you don't mind, just one more quick question.
Go ahead, Member Vanderbrink.
I know you brought up the traffic fatalities and how they have doubled since last year. And I know it's not necessarily HPD's responsibility, but I do know we do have a lot of bars and clubs and establishments here in Ala Moana and in neighboring Waikiki. I was wondering if there is a needed presence for more police, either with DUI checkpoints or at those establishments, or is anything that HPD can do to try and prevent impaired and intoxicated drivers from driving out of those areas?
Yeah, as far as like sitting outside bars or clubs, it's kind of a form of entrapment, watching people leave and stuff like that. So really, we had to have a probable cause to stop them and see them under influence, like them committing some kind of traffic violation. Uh, as far as them arresting people for OVIIs, which is basically a DUI, in our assigned area and your guys' neighborhood area that you guys are board members of, I work the daytime hours, but when I come in shift in the morning, there are plenty of officers who have brought like either one or several people in for DUIs that they've arrested overnight. I believe that most of these traffic fatalities are not really too much occurring in our area or the downtown Honolulu area, mostly on the freeway or in the country areas of Oahu. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Member Vanderbrink. Thank you, Sergeant Osterchuk. Any other questions from board members? Member Hernandez? Questions? Okay. Okay, we'll save that so we can continue. And then if you can save that for community concerns, if that's all right. Okay, go ahead.
I don't know if you heard my questioning for the Honolulu Fire Department guy that was just here. Did you hear my questions there about the horseshoe driveway at 401?
I did. Yes.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, here's the question, can HPD do anything to expedite the removal of the temporary structures and food trucks that are blocking that driveway so that you yourselves from time to time go there and maybe you don't have to block the number 2 lane of Atkinson East? So do you guys have can you have a way to expedite clearing that out?
As far as that property that you're concerned about, we do not enforce on private property any kind of parking violations or anything like that. As far as the food vendors, I'm not really sure if they have permits to be there or not, but if they do have permits to have food vending trucks, then that they're perfectly legally able to do that. As far as any kind of fire codes or fire violations, we would most likely work hand in hand with HFD and they would notify us they need our help. But I do believe they got their own means to enforce any kind of fire violations. We are much like HFD. If we have to park on the side of the road to do something or take care of an emergency, we're just going to park on the road and block off Atkinson itself.
Okay, thank you for that question. We have one more question. If you can go up to the mic, sir.
My name is Ronald Yeager, and I want to find out about the e-bike have one man and a boy ride together, but it has a leg rest. Is that legal or even bicycle?
I'm not really I'm sure what you're asking. I can barely hear you. Is something about a bicycle violation?
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah,
not sure if one of the board members heard that. They can clarify me what the question was. Kind of a hard time hearing them.
Okay, we can go ahead and get the question from you later and then we'll get a response. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Member Hernandez?
Oh, I was just going to clarify. I happen to work for the Hawaii Bicycling League. And so the definition is if it has pegs, it's not a bicycle. To be a bicycle, it has to have operable pedals.
That is
Thank
correct.
you, Member
Yes.
Hernandez, for that clarification. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, Sergeant Osachuk, thank you for being here this evening. We appreciate
Thank you
your
very
service.
much.
Okay, the time is now 6:32. Moving on to presentations. We have Bishop Rain Yoroturu from the Shingon Mission of Hawaii to talk about the Ala Moana Neighborhood Historical Association.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for allowing me to make my little presentation, and congratulations to the newly installed members for NB11. I had my prepared remarks, but I think I'm going to dispense with them and keep it simple. On September 14th of this year at 5 p.m., it's a Sunday, we intend to have our first meeting of what Chair Lee just described as our neighborhood association, the Ala Moana Neighborhood Historical Association. And the aim of the association is to bring together not only the residents, but the commercial interests that are in the area. We have HMSA very, very interested in working with the community. And we want to try to give voice to all of the people who are living in the walk-ups in the area. We have a very interesting mix of heavy commercial concerns like Sam's Club, Ala Moana. We have so many supermarkets in the area. This is actually a very vibrant location, and we'd like to bring attention to our residents that we need to foster some pride, some community spirit, and that we can work together to make things better. Because I've been in the Shingon Mission, which is right next to the KL Moku McDonald's, for 30 years now. And the one thing that I have noticed is, and beyond what we already know to be an increase in crime and an increase in, or I should say a decrease in nice human behavior. Besides that, the one thing that I've seen is there's no community spirit anymore. Everyone is so busy trying to make ends meet. And the one thing that I keep hearing, we go down the street and we're talking with our neighbors, is, so what if we do have a neighborhood board? So what if we have a city council and we have senators and representatives? Nothing's going to happen. And I need to tell them that, and I would like to tell them, with your help, of course, that engagement is the most important thing that any community member can do for themselves and their neighborhood. And so I'm hoping that by meeting together and having a talk story, and this is something that I discussed with many of our elected officials, including Senator Moriwaki was sitting over there. We've discussed it for months and months, of trying to do something like this where we can talk about the history of the area and, more importantly, where are we headed? My building is the last standing building in the entire neighborhood that's bordered by Sub-District 2 that remains from the early 1900s. We have 110 years in this neighborhood. And we would really appreciate if people, our neighbors and our friends, would feel that they have some kind of power and they have the ability to engage with not only all of you folks who are doing this as voluntary work, but even to our elected officials, that They are important, and this community is very important as well. That's all that this association is aiming to do and what we'd like to do. So, a free Sunday, make it the 14th of September. We'll be hosting it at Shingong Mission of Hawaii at 5 p.m. And we promise to feed you. I know that's of paramount importance for many. And that's all I'd like to say. Thank you for giving me some time this evening.
Thank you, Bishop Siro. Questions from the board? Member Rice.
It's not a question, but it's a comment. And thank you for organizing that. I think it's wonderful. One of the things we've been talking about as a board is spreading ourselves out within our neighborhood, the 4 districts, and setting up tables where each of us would man one weekend a month or something like that, and share with those who are willing to come up and say hello, the neighborhood board, and how can they be involved. Tonight, it's kind of cool. I've been on the board, I think it's almost 4 years now, and this is the most we've ever had in the audience. So was really happy about that. And I know many are here to speak and then they scoot, and that's fine. But I think this would be a really cool opportunity for the board to have a table at your event, if you will allow us, and us man it, and maybe have a handout this is what a neighborhood board is, this is what we can do, and this is what you can do for your neighborhood in getting involved. So thank you. I think it's really wonderful what you're doing.
Thank you, Member Rice. Any other board members? Member Van der Brink.
I would like to just second what Member Rice has been saying as well. I think it's good to have more community involvement and more community organizations beyond the neighborhood board. I know I eat at the McDonald's there far too often, so I do pass by your temple, and it is one of the few non-new structures in the area, and I do appreciate that. And just like Member Rice is saying, I also believe we should be more out in the community. I personally think we should go and march in some of the parades to show that we do represent the neighborhood and we want to hear from more community members. And if we have a table, if we don't have a table, I'll definitely be there to support the event and meet everyone in the community as well from there.
Thank you, Member Van der Brink. Member Frenius.
Thank you, Bishop. Folks have been very actively, participating. In terms of bringing the community together, you have a beautiful temple, and it's always so wonderful when you folks have the bond dances. So when is that coming up?
Actually, this year, the bone dance is going to be very special. It's a split. We've had a lot of complaints about it. It's split on August 6th and 9th, and I think the dates are pretty obvious why. August 6th will mark the 80th anniversary of the atomic bombing of Hiroshima. And at that bone dance, it will be basically a memorial bone dance. And it is open to the public. And on the 9th, of course, that's the anniversary of the Nagasaki bombing. Just so happened that it fell on the Saturday that we normally have our bone dance. And at that event, there's going to be an actual new bone dance that's introduced for the prefecture of Nagasaki. I don't think a lot of people know, but Hiroshima has sent a lot of people to Hawaii. Nagasaki, on the other hand, has not. So we don't have very much in terms of a cultural club or association with Nagasaki, but we persuaded one of the old teachers to go ahead and come up with a dance for that particular memorial service. But it is August 6th and 9th, 6 to 10.
Okay, thank you, Bishop Siro. Any other questions from board members? Okay, is there a website that people can go to at this time?
To Hawaii.com. Yeah, you can see our event calendars there. And actually, the Ala Moana Neighborhood Historical Association is one tab on that until we start splitting it off into its own entity.
Okay, thank you so much for being here this evening.
Thank you so much.
Okay, moving on to item 4.2, prosecutorial neglect and community safety concerns with Mr. James Gishan, president of Sugar Hawaii. Mr. Gishan has been here before. Okay. Sorry, sir. We can have Mr. Gishan on the mic. Okay, Mr. Gishin, as we let you know, you have 10 minutes for your presentation. Are you able to pull it up? Okay, so for those online, we are working on getting Mr. Gishin's presentation up at the moment.
Sure, if you can see that.
Okay, for the individuals online, are you able to see Mr. Gishin's presentation?
Yes, I'm able to see it.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Awesome. All right, I am on a time limit here, so good evening, everyone, and thank you all for having me here to present. I have the memory of a goldfish, so I am actually going to refer to my notes for this. Before I introduce myself and get into a quick question, has anybody seen Zoolander before? It's going to date me a little bit, but so maybe not. But if you have, you may remember this scene. And that's how I feel, and I'm not alone. My name is James Gishin. I'm co-founder of Sugar Sugar Hawaii, and our mission is, always has been, to make the world better, starting right here at home. And tonight I present before you what I feel is institutional insanity. I'm here tonight to talk to you about crime. I'm here to talk about the problems with our criminal justice system, and I'm here to talk about real common sense solutions that are the most loving for, number one, the victim of the crime, number two, the community, and number three, the offender, actually, who incidentally is a victim of our broken criminal justice system. We are helping no one when we continue to offer meaningless sentences, hand-wringing, and fake compassion that our current system is offering. Crime is out of control. We see it, we live it, and if you don't, frankly, I'm not sure if we're living in the same neighborhood. Thefts, drugs, domestic violence, assault, trespassing, arson, reckless driving, car theft, vehicular homicide, even shootings have become more common in our neighborhoods. Talk to almost anyone and they've got a story, or they know someone who does. Whether it's a business closing down because of theft, or it's a game of trying not to hit the high guy while you're driving down Baratania. People across Hawaii are wondering, rightly and justly, where is the system that's supposed to protect us? The system is broken. Every step needs improvement, from the community to the police, the prosecutors, the judges, and the corrections. And that's actually okay. That's how progress works. But the point is, we actually have to act. Complaining doesn't solve anything. That's not actually what I'm here to do, surprisingly. Solutions only matter if we act on them, and loving our neighbor sometimes means doing the hard thing. So today, I'm briefly going to walk through number one, what's broken, number two, what's the solution, number three, what's the game plan. So let's start with what's broken. The bureaucrats, the politicians, they'll tell you that crime is down. Look at the stats, they'll say. But a big part of that is because people have stopped reporting, because it doesn't ever do anything and it leads nowhere. Picture this. Someone's been living across the street on the sidewalk for a year. This is a real story, actually. Burning trash, yelling at people, walking by, clearly in crisis for one reason or another. Call 911, not quite an emergency. Maybe you notice a police non-emergency. And then you wait. And you need to know what the laws are that are being broken, because that's going to be a question. File an HPD 252 sworn statement, file an HPD 458 form. Hopefully you have video evidence. You're going to need that. You're going to download that, burn that to USB, call HPD again, file another 503 form, hand that over, and all your evidence. At this point, together with the investigation, you and HPD have spent a total of approximately 20 to 60 hours gathering evidence, filing reports, reviewing footage, investigating. Finally, when the investigation is complete, the detective puts a nice little bow on it, and you think, great, it's going somewhere now, but it's not. Unless you, the victim, somehow magically know to call the prosecutor's office and personally request charges, even after you've already said that in a sworn statement to HPD on an HPD 252, nothing happens. The prosecutor won't prosecute. All that work for literally nothing. And that, friends, is how thousands of our businesses, of our people's cases and our businesses' cases are dying every month and every year. Take a look at the first news article there that I provided, the piece by Civil Beat. This is really important. You see, as of January 2023, for some inexplicable reason, this policy was implemented by the prosecutor's office. Thousands of misdemeanors and petty misdemeanor cases are no longer accepted, and they're not even looked at anymore. Thousands of them by the prosecutor's office. We in the business call this the call again policy, but we might as well call it I don't want to do my job policy. Because if the prosecutor's job is not to prosecute it, what exactly is it? And that's not all. Even if you do call, even if the prosecutor actually looks for a brief moment at the case, there's still this little thing called nolle prosequi, or NP for short, that they use in court. It's a Latin phrase that means I don't wish to prosecute. It can be used properly when a prosecutor legitimately needs more time to thoroughly investigate the case. It can also be used, however, as has been seen in our experience time and time again over the past 3-4 years, to not prosecute a case forever. So let's sum up where we're at. Number one, tens, if not hundreds of thousands of cases are going unreported by the community because the process is exhausting, nothing ever happens. Number two, of the relatively few that are reported, thousands of them don't get fully investigated or closed by HPD. Number three, of the relatively few that happen to get reported and happen to actually get fully investigated and closed by HPD, thousands of them aren't even looked at by the prosecutor's office. And of the astronomically minute percentage of cases looked at by the prosecutor's office, thousands, if not tens of thousands of them, are dismissed into a black hole of maybe later, which means never. And that is what happens when you do everything right. Look at the next section of your handout. You'll see the criminal record of an individual. Of course, it's been redacted for privacy, but it's over 100. We put 90-something of the cases on there. Over 100, one individual, and still walking around every single day. Let's say by some absolute miracle, a case makes it in front of the judge. What happens? Either A, the offender gets a slap on the wrist, they get time served, or they get a fine waived because they don't have the ability to pay. Or B, they get a short jail sentence where they come out even worse than when they went in. So either they get no accountability or they get a master's in felony crime. Next up is corrections, which is a misnomer because it's not really correcting that much. Hawaii's recidivism rate is around 50%, 57% within 3 years. That means that more than half of the inmates are rearrested soon after release. 57% recidivism is terrible. And here's the kicker. Take a look at the next article that's in the pamphlet. They think that they'll fix this by spending $1 billion to add just 300 more jail beds. And let's be real, it's not going to stop at $1 billion. Fool me once, build the rail. Fool me twice, build the jail. Look, I'm all for consequences. I'm all for accountability, but we need to work smarter. We need to stop throwing money at concrete. That's why prevention is the last thing, isn't the last thing, it's the first. We can't just continue to react. We have to prevent and intervene early, or this cycle never ends. So what's the solution? What can we do? We can do a lot. When do we get started? We've already gotten started. You have in front of you a copy of our criminal justice. That's the second pamphlet, criminal justice reform plan. It outlines the issues that we just talked about and many, many more issues and real steps forward. Take a look at the timeline for the next 2 months here. So actually going to go on here and I got my notes on here. Sorry. So perfect example. So the crime reporting kit that I just, and you can, I can't see it up there, okay. Crime reporting kit that I just talked about. We're not complaining and asking our civil servants to do something that we ourselves are not going to work on. Our first version was on paper. Now we actually have a crime reporting kit that we're going to be sending to, and we have already started sending to others in the community. It's all digital. It's a zip folder, and it streamlines the crime reporting process immensely. So we are willing to do the work. We are also rolling out a website in the next 3 to 4 weeks that is extremely, extremely powerful, has a lot of powerful resources for the community, including this. So what actions can the neighborhood board take? Request that our governor and mayor initiate a campaign around town and the islands to educate and raise awareness in the community on how to report crime. For August, I'm only going to go through 3 of these, so don't worry. HPD can begin gradually increasing warnings, citations, arrests with the goal of addressing every single incident by the end of the year. How can the neighborhood board help? They can make this request of HPD and can suggest starting with something simple. For example, fines for traffic violations. For example, put 2 officers on Kapiolani where it's been speeding issues and such. And yeah, put them on Kapiolani all day and have them issue citations. And then finally, August 2025 as well. This is a big one. The PA's office needs to end the call again policy. It just needs to end. The neighborhood board can request the PA's office to end that policy and also call upon the mayor's office and the city council. So this is just in 2 months. We have so many more things, so many greater changes that we can do, but this is an achievable start. Finally, love doesn't mean throwing someone in jail and pretending the problem is fixed on the one hand, but it also doesn't mean ignoring crime and calling it compassion. It means doing the hard work of real justice. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Gishan. Test. Thank you, Mr. Gishan, for that presentation. Questions from the board? Member G.
Thank you for coming here and putting this together. I can tell you've put a hot minute into this. And yeah, it's a lot of work to put all this together, and I can tell you're very passionate about it. I'm curious to know, have you had the opportunity to have these conversations with elected officials, other members of public office? And if so, what have their responses been?
That's an excellent question. Thank you for that. We have, so we are in contact. We continuously update and contact over 100 different officials, all of the senators, all the representatives, all the council members, the PA's office, the AG, the governor, the mayor, and everybody. And this has been over, especially over the past 2 to 4 years that we've been working more and more. Now it's hundreds of officials that we've been contacting. We just keep pushing every single month until they respond. We have, God be praised, had some response. Finally, I would say about maybe 10% of the representatives and senators have responded. And actually Big Island responds to us more than here, which is kind of cool. And they're fully in support, which is great. That's great news for legislative change. They're fully in support. We got a lot of feedback from that. Yeah. But the PA's office thing, that thing is not gaining traction. They will not respond to us regarding that sort of stuff.
Thank you. Member Van Brink.
So first, I'd like to thank you for bringing this up. I do agree there is definitely issues here that do have to be addressed. One thing from my perspective is I know that when this was first brought up on our board last month, I know you weren't able to present, but around that time, I also saw some news stories I think are kind of relevant to this. And we actually had a member of community at our action committee meeting 2 months ago that actually kind of brought something up I want to share as well. So first one would be there's a court reporter shortage on the island. We actually have 5 court reporters that used to do the work of 20 just, I believe, 10, 15 years ago. And there's been major cases that actually have been delayed, including violent crime cases that have been delayed because the court reporter hasn't been able to do the work because there's so few of them left. And in addition, we actually had a bill that just passed this last session for judges that actually cut their pension. So Civil Beat actually did an article which they estimate that judges might be less than likely to take the position because they'll have less of a pension once they take or once they retire. So I think those do definitely factor into it. And the individual from our action committee meeting did mention how they used to work in the prosecutor's office, and there's actually a shortage of prosecutors right now, which might be even why we have that policy to begin with, to free up prosecutors to take on other crimes. So we should, as a board, be able to reach out to the prosecutor's office and maybe get a representative who can speak from that office, because we have a city liaison, we have a governor liaison, but we don't have anyone from the prosecutor's office here to be able to speak and address questions too. So that might be something we should definitely consider doing. So that way your questions can be addressed and our questions can be addressed in a public setting. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vanderbrink.
Thank you so
Please.
much for that. And you're not wrong. There is a shortage across the board. However, I also have spoken to a plethora of people in many different departments, including the prosecutor's office, on the condition of anonymity. And it is a problem, the shortage, but it's not the only problem.
Board questions? Member Hernandez.
Who else are you working with? I see you've got Sugar Hawaii, which is your business.
Mhm.
And is there a coalition that you're working with? Is there?
That's a good question. So a couple, 2-3 years ago, one of our initiatives that we spearheaded was it's kind of like a neighborhood watch, but for businesses. So we have groups across the island that watch out for each other in real time. And so if something happens to our business, we can immediately let that group know, and everybody knows, and they're able to prosecute. And
Do you have any formal structure, or is it informal?
other than our own organization, no, it's all informal. Yep.
Thank you, Member Hernandez, for the question, and thank you, Mr. Gishin.
Thank you.
Okay, appreciate it. We have a question from a committee member. If you can come up to the mic.
Good thing I am standing up.
Real quick.
My
you can
name's
turn it-
Lynn Mariano, and I'm a concerned citizen, and this is a really good presentation. So I'm just kind of wondering, with the teaming agreement with the Neighborhood Board Action Committee, and then with this organization that's been formalized, but also working with Consumer Affairs Committee, and also the small businesses, it kind of be part of the educational process to find out what the concerns are for these small businesses. And then from there, you can kind of rack and stack the prioritization of what needs to take place. So then the next step from there would be going to the legislator for our part, for the neighborhood board, is through the city council, simultaneously working with the representatives so that they can start looking at some bills to modify or enhance some of the concerns that small businesses have. So appreciate you coming up and talking about this, because this is something that's really needed, and it's a team effort. So we need to work things not only as an individual, but as a neighborhood board. This is one way you can do that. So I would say that I'd be happy to work with the action committee with this organization to kind of formulate a plan to kind of move forward on how we can work with the Small Business Administration, the Consumer Affairs for the state of Hawaii, and then crafting those things with the legislature from the city council up to the representatives and the senators. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mariano, for that comment. I do want to point out that Mr. Gishin has reached out to our local legislators, and I want to acknowledge Senator Moriwaki for actually inviting me to one of those virtual meetings along with Representative Adrian Tam to go over this. So hopefully we can come up with a plan to help further your cause.
Yeah, and just a quick comment on that. To the credit of the ones that have responded, of the legislators that have responded, that is finally the kind of direction that they've given us. And the senator, actually, you were in on that call, was one of the ones that kind of suggested that, okay, get something in front of us, right? Get a bill in front of us. They connected us with the Waikiki Business Improvement District. Unfortunately, we have not been able to meet, but I know they're very busy. But hopefully we can meet there and then see where the gaps are.
Mr. Gishan, thank you for being here this evening. Yep, one more, Mr. Van Brink.
I just want to say we do have our regular action committee meeting once it's formally approved by the board. We do meet next month on what was the second Thursday? Yeah. Yeah, so we should be meeting on the second Thursday. So I mean, you're more than welcome to come there and throw out ideas, put something together that we can be transformed into a bill. So that way we can get in front of our legislatures so they can consider it next session.
Yeah, thank you. And the bill is important, but the bill is something that takes time. There are many small pieces that can be done right away. And so I'd be happy to present on just those small pieces, at least one of them that we can just take action on.
Thank you. Questions from the board. Member Rice.
Thank you so much for being here. As somebody who has a business who was broken into 4 years ago and nothing was resolved. They never caught the bad guys. Have you aligned yourselves with the Retailers Association, Tina Yamaki's group?
So I have not, no, I'm not sure.
That might be a group you want to look into. I'd be happy to help you reach out to her. She's a very powerful voice and well-connected and someone who I think would support what your efforts and what you're doing. Association.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Member Rice, and thank you, Mr. Gishan, for being here this evening. Okay, the time is now 7:03. Moving on to board business. We are to establish the meeting date, time, location, and the format. Camelia, do we need to vote on this?
Yep, so you guys can retain it, or if there's discussion to change, but you can retain it, just a unanimous vote you wanted.
Okay, any discussion on our schedule, which currently is every fourth Tuesday of the month at 6 p.m. at Makiki Christian Church? Member Hernandez.
I noted you have Tuesday, December 23rd as a recess date. I was wondering if you might consider the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, which is November 25th, I believe.
Okay, thank you, Member Hernandez. Let's hold off on that until we establish 5.1, and then I'll get back to you on that. Thank you for bringing that up. If there are no decisions, we can vote to retain the current schedule, which is every fourth Tuesday of the month at 6 p.m. Virtually or in person at Makiki Christian Church. I'll ask if there is any opposition. Okay, it looks like and I don't see opposition online as well from Member Rand, so it looks like we are good. Unanimous vote to keep the schedule for board meetings the same. Thank you, board. Moving on to 5.2. Let's go back to Member Hernandez. What was that date?
Yes, I suggested that we consider recess for the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, which is Tuesday, November.
Thank you, Member Hernandez. Any discussion?
Yeah, I just want to point out too that December as well, if we meet on the usual date, that'll be 2 days before Christmas. So I just want to make sure we at least meet for one of those dates and not take them both off, because then that will cause some concerns to have a two-month period off.
Okay, any other comments, discussion, board members? Okay, so I do agree with Member Vanderbrink, because if we take out November, then our last meeting of the year would be October, which would leave us with 2 months. We had a question from a member chair. Are we allowed to amend meeting dates? Like, let's say for November, we wanted to hold a different date.
You want to change the date on November? I can get back to you guys if that's possible. Just because we have to ask the facility, we have to check with Olelo's schedule if it's possible. And
Okay.
as well as my availability for, yeah.
Okay, Member Vanderbrink.
Yeah, I just want to mention the Macaulay Neighborhood Board. I know they held a special meeting on a separate date that was in person only. I'm not sure if the what happened around that, but if Macaulay can do it, I'm not sure if you can reach out and check with them to see if we can do that type of thing as well, change the date and in person only.
I'm not sure about McCully's meeting that you spoke about. If it's a special meeting, that's not considered a regular board meeting. It's an additional meeting that the board just wanted to hold. And that doesn't have any Olelo or NCO to assist. It's just like a committee meeting.
Okay, any other comments from the member Freenius? Did you have a comment?
Picking up. It's a suggestion, can we swap a date, like say we took the day off, like October? So I do agree with having 2 months off for the following year. So is that even an option of taking another day for the November monthly meeting?
Okay, so the proposal would be, so we have the December on here, and another suggestion would be to also suggest a second date, which would be October instead of November. So then it would be October and December would be the recess dates. That seems like what's proposed.
Yeah, if it makes sense.
Member Vandenbrink?
Can I just inquire with Member Hernandez on why you want to request November off? Is it just because it's so close to Thanksgiving, or is there another reason?
Member Rice?
Thank you. There is Zoom. I mean, if you're planning on traveling, going away, a lot of people do over Thanksgiving, but it's just a few hours and it can be Zoomable. So I vote to keep the schedule as is. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Rice. Okay, so let's vote on the December 23rd first. If anyone is opposed to not having, oh, sorry, Member Rand online.
I'm sorry, I was just gonna say that I was in favor of not having 2 months off and just having the December to take off and continue with the November meeting. So, sorry, that was my input.
Okay, thank you, Member Rand. I
Thank you.
appreciate that. So we'll vote on the December one first. Is anyone opposed to, oh, sorry, Member Hernandez?
I just wanted to then remove my motion. Hearing the conversation, recognizing that 2 months would be too long to not meet, I am fine to keep it as stated in the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Hernandez. And I appreciate your concern because I'd looked at the calendar as well and realized it was kind of a big gap. So I really appreciate you bringing that up. Okay, so now we're just voting on December 23rd.
Chair.
Member Freenius.
Chair, if I may, in following suit with Member Hernandez, may I take the October 28th suggestion off the table as well?
You absolutely may. Thank you, Board, for your enthusiasm in coming to these meetings. Okay, let's go ahead and vote on December 23rd. If there is anyone opposed. Okay, Ms. Gomes, it looks like it's unanimous. Thank you, Board. And so we've retracted the suggestion for October and November, but I do appreciate the Board for bringing that up and making sure that we're good, especially since the dates that were brought up are, around the weeks of holidays. 5.3, adoption of oral testimony rule. So this is just a reminder, and it's a good thing Member Hernandez is here. So our board has been pretty lenient when it comes to questioning. So I want to remind our board to keep your comments relevant to the discussion and under 3 minutes. Like he mentioned, right, it's typically addressed to the chair, but the way our board is run is it's almost a hybrid, right? Address the chair and also the community members, because this is what we're here for. We talk to our neighbors. That being said, this is why I added that in fairness to other board members and in the interest of time, please minimize back and forth questions when called upon. So if you ask a question and you feel like you didn't get an answer to that particular question, please feel free to ask a follow-up. But if your follow-up deviates completely from your original question, please refrain from asking that question until everyone else has gotten to ask the question. And this way, it gives everyone a fair opportunity. Again, we are here voluntarily, and the community appreciates that, as well as the legislators and members of the community who are here. So I just wanted to remind the board that, and thank you for your cooperation and for being here. Okay, formation of committees. We have on the agenda continuation of the action committee. Member Vanderbrink.
Yes, I'd just like to propose we continue the action committee.
I second that.
Okay, so so members, the action committee was something that we had started up, I believe, in 2023. It was a standing committee before that, but it became more consistent in 2023, and the schedule that was established was every second Tuesday of the month. Sorry, Thursday of the month, same venue, same time, 6 to 8. So if the board would like to continue with that, we can. Do we need to vote? Okay, so continuation of the action committee, which is a separate meeting from our regular meeting agenda every second Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. Anyone, anyone opposed? Okay, discussion? Member Hernandez,
Where does it happen?
Here.
Here.
in that smaller room right there. Yeah. So I want to point out that this has been a great committee when it comes to discussion, because it is a bit informal, a little bit more informal. It's just the board that runs it. We do not have support from the NCO or Olelo. So we're just in that room discussing things. So it has yielded a lot of results when it comes to agenda items that come out of that. So okay, so let's go and take the vote for the continuation of the action committee. Anyone opposed? Okay, it looks like we are going to continue the action committee. Thank you, board. Any other committees? Okay, board, thank you. So hopefully we see more people at the action committee meeting coming up. We did have an interim chair and vice chair for that committee, and that was members Rice and Vanderbrink. Did I get that right? For chair and vice chair. Does the board want to maintain that? Discussion? Okay.
Move to make a motion to retain member Rice and member Vanderbrink, please.
Okay, thank you. Second? Okay, seconded by member Chi. Let's vote on it. A retention of the interim chair and the vice chair to be the chair and the vice chair for the committee. So that would be member Rice as chair of the action committee, member Vanderbrink as vice chair of the action committee. Anyone opposed? Okay, board, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, moving on. This is item 5.5, representation of our neighborhood board 11 representation on the Oahu Metropolitan Planning Organization, and member Eduardo Hernandez. Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was at the July meeting for OMPO, which, by the way, for those who don't know, OMPO is a federally mandated planning organization that makes decisions for all transportation-related issues, federal transportation projects. And they have a citizens advisory committee, and this neighborhood board has a chair on that. They had on their action item to remove Neighborhood Board 11, along with a number of other members who had not maintained attendance. So I asked the chair of that meeting if I could come to this board, and if you could nominate someone from our new board to serve on that. So they kind of extended the deadline for participation. I serve on that board in my capacity, so I can't serve in both, is what I was told. So If someone wants to volunteer to serve on that, I welcome you. They happen once a month. And the website I had shared with Camilla, I don't know if you can bring up the website for OMPO to learn more about the work. And really, here we are in the urban core of Honolulu. So much transportation issues happen and are decided in our neighborhood. So it's a really good place for us to be represented on and to work and get our voices heard for transportation projects that affect not only this district, but the entire state. Thank you.
Member Hernandez. And I do want to call up Member Mariano, who was former representative of the board, just so we can get a perspective of representation.
Yes, Madam Chair, I was representing the board on this committee, the Citizen Advisory Committee. And sometimes I would log on to the site and then there'd be some issues. We get bumped off for whatever reason. Trying to log back on, sometimes it takes a while. So after so many attempts, I just didn't attend. The other thing is attending this, and you can see why some other neighborhood boards might not be attending, is because it appears that representation of the neighborhood board on this advisory committee, it's really for naught, because most of the agenda items and things that's already discussed is already pre-decisional. And so whatever input that's provided, it's really irrelevant. So it's kind of a waste of time. So it's a matter of, in my opinion, and my opinion only, not representing of the board, it's like attending that is just like a check mark, just to say, yes, the public's been advised, the neighborhood board were representative, and so on and so forth. Yes, they do bring up motions. There is some brief discussions, and everyone goes through the process and vote. I brought up a couple of issues on a continual basis and reference ADA compliance. And the decisions are already made. And when you look at some of the projects that's going on that's been approved, it doesn't have any impact as much for ADA compliance. And so what representation is being really made there? If the chair decides that we should continue with that, I think it'd be good, as long as there's more representation so that it's not a going there just to sit and just vote on something that's already been predetermined. It's not a democratic process to help provide input.
So
one of the things is like bike lanes. You know, talk about bike lanes, where they're putting certain bike lanes. There were some concerns that was brought up, but the next thing you know is the bikes lane already put up. And so what was the purpose? We had some input from the community. Pensacola is a good example. The bike lane that was put there. South King Street. They're looking at Pensacola, Pi'ikoi, Kapulani. So those kind of things, you know, is a concern. ADA compliance is also a concern. And we can address that from the neighborhood board through the process that we're doing right now. So being on a committee, again, you can do your best, and that's it.
Okay, thank you, Member Mark. So I want to make sure that you are.
Citizen Mariano.
Thank you, Community Member Lynn Mariano. And I do want Member Hernandez to address this because he did fight for representation on the board, and I wanted to let the board know.
I certainly want to thank you, and I certainly I do spend times on those meetings, and I can appreciate your concerns. I did, however, look back through the minutes of this neighborhood board meeting, and in the course of a year, you never brought any of those concerns that you just shared with this board. So you unilaterally decided that you were going to stop going to this meeting and jeopardized our position on it because they were about to kick us off. And the process to become re-enrolled means you have to attend 4 meetings in a row, submit a formal written application, which gets sent to the Citizen Advisory Committee, which then gets sent to the Policy Committee. So you've expressed that you're not interested, that you don't think it's a worthwhile board. We have a board here. I think some people might think that this board doesn't do things, that why do we go? I know that we sometimes struggle to get involvement, but the process is that you show up and you do what's asked to do. So I'm asking if we have a member on this board who will serve on this important federally mandated community planning organization, because nothing gets done in transportation wise until this committee has a voice in it. We have someone who serves on transportation, I believe, in the Senate.
Yep.
And can you speak to the importance and value and role of OMPO for transportation planning?
Well, before then you're addressing, I would like to respond back.
Go ahead.
Okay, because I
Mr. Martin.
have attempted numerous times to be on, but I also have a full-time job before I fully retired in June. And so getting on every first Wednesday of the month, I make it a point. It's on my calendar. So I make an attempt all the time to get on. I get on, I sit and I wait, and then get bumped off. So technical difficulties are also a challenge. Some board that I've attended, we would sit down, we have some really good discussions. But again, if you look at some of the other neighborhood boards and why they're not participating, it just appears that why? So I think if that's, you're doing it for whatever organization you're representative, and if the Madam Chair, if you want to have someone else to represent, that will be okay, because this happened before. But to say that I have not attended, it's a gross misrepresentation.
Well, I think you should have brought that to the board and let the board know that you had technical difficulties, so that Madam Chair might have connected with the chair of OMPO to work through some of those things, because what happens was just a void in information. So anyway, let's move on from that. I don't need to make it anymore. We've made this point.
Kathleen?
Okay, thank you, board members. So
Kathleen?
sorry, Member
Sorry.
Rice.
May I ask Member Hernandez, is this a Zoom meeting or is this an in-person meeting or both?
Both.
And where does the meeting take place?
At Richard Street, headquarters.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've been there on Richard Street.
Okay.
And I attended in person, but it's also on Zoom as well.
Okay,
And when I was working and on my travel, I would dial
Zoom
in
in.
via Zoom.
great, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mariano, thank you for letting us know about the issues. Member, thank you for bringing this up to the board. Going back to your point, does the board want representation on Oahu MPO? Hearing both sides.
Thank you. I have another question, sorry. Can you, when you say it's federally funded and all of that, what are they discussing about? Transportation state or in our neighborhood? Are they talking about complete streets? Because there's a lot of things that I agree with the former member Mariano. When complete streets had come and presented here, it was a done deal, whatever it was they presented. Like Kuhio Avenue, which really doesn't impact this neighborhood board, but it does impact a lot of us who go into Waikiki all the time and what they're doing now. I'm in the transportation business, so this is why I'm asking some of these questions. And I'd be happy to switch my responsibilities on the action committee, although Dale will miss me terribly, and attend these meetings, because I think there's a value in everything. But I don't want to attend a meeting, like Mr. Mariano said, where our voice isn't heard and there's no opportunity for change. I don't want stamp. That's not who I am. And I want to know that if I do attend, that my voice will be heard and action could possibly be considered to change whatever it is they're working on.
Thank you, Member Hernandez.
Sure. So really quickly, I encourage you to visit their website. and learn more about them. But the federal government has decided that in every community, more than 50,000 people has to have a planning body to provide input into transportation projects that receive federal transportation dollars. And it helps them to prioritize projects and right now, we're having a big shift in transportation priorities nationally. So it is an important place to provide your perspective living in this mid-urban core district to the entire island of what we're looking at, transportation projects that are coming down the pipeline, what they mean for you, for your neighbors, and how we can make more involved policy decisions.
Thank you, Member Hernandez. I know Senator Murawaki's name came up, and I wanted her to save the response for her report, but we're already on the subject, so let's just keep the ball rolling. Senator Murawaki, thank you for being here this evening in person.
Good evening. Thank you. Yes, I serve on the policy board for the Oahu MPO, Metropolitan Planning Organization. There are only two in the state, one in Maui and one for Oahu. And you have to apply, and as Mr. Hernandez said, it's by number of people in your metropolitan district. So the policy board is required by federal government, and it has representatives, senators, council members, as well as the Department of Transportation, the Department of Transportation Services, and the Federal Highway Administration, all together looking at how can we make transportation safer, better for the whole county. So it's a big plan that's long-range plan. There's a Oahu Regional Transportation Plan. And each year we come back to say, do we need to revise this? If you're not in the plan, then you don't get federal funding. So it's important to see what is being funded. And most of it is on the rural side because they're trying to come in and connect with the urban area. But also HART sits on, HART is another agency. So you want to see as HART comes into the central area that you have input. So there are two or three, in addition to the policy board, there are two committees. One is the citizen advisory, and there's a technical committee which are made up of agency representatives that say, can we do this or not? So it is an important body. It does have important decisions that they make, especially where we get federal funding, but it's not very specific for our neighborhood or not. So sometimes the discussion is all about Mililani and the rule. But then there are, and you look at the agenda, there are items that have to do with art coming in or where the transportation traffic problems are. So it's important to have representation just to know what's happening from the neighborhood board perspective, but not all of it may be relevant to our district, but to see what's happening in the county. So I would suggest that you continue your representation. And if you don't get connected, to talk to the chair of the advisory council or advisory committee, I think it's called, advisory committee, or talk to Mark Garrity, who I think used to be on this board or the Waikiki board, but so that you do have the connection, because we really do a lot of outreach and try to get information and input from the community, but it's very difficult. And when you read their stuff, it's very dense. I have to say that you've got to really pour through it. So you look at what is relevant to you and make those recommendations on behalf of the community. So I would urge you to continue in spite of the sage advice of your former member.
Thank you, Senator Murawaki. Sorry, Member Vandenberg.
So a lot of the discussion right now has been about staying in there or leaving. Could it be possible we just have someone, if Member Rice wants to be the representative, attend the meetings for 2 or 3 months, see how it is, see if it's something that would be worthwhile for the board, and if it doesn't, she can step down and come back to the action committee, and if she thinks it's worthwhile to continue, she can report to the board that and continue in her role there. So it gives us the option of at least seeing how the meetings are for a few months and then reconsider it then.
I think that's a good suggestion. One of the challenges that had come up, now that I'm thinking back on it, was the scheduling of the meetings. It's a little bit challenging for people because I don't know if it's still like in the middle of the day. So could you let us know what time it is?
2 o'clock on the first Wednesday. Yeah. So it's currently chaired by Katie Rooney, who works for Ulupono Initiative. She runs the meetings pretty tightly, tries to keep to an hour. Occasionally, they do vote to extend the meeting by a few minutes. You cannot have more than 3 absences. I believe, Madam Chair, that you have the prerogative to name an alternate in the event that a lead member cannot attend. And it's just being part of the conversation.
Member Hernandez, thank you for bringing that up. So Member Rice, it looks like you're volunteering, and to Member Vanderbrink's suggestion
I
to,
didn't realize it was daytime, and that's really hard with my business. So I'll give it a whirl. I'll try and attend, and if we can find an alternate who'd be willing to attend, if I'm unable to, I'm all for it.
okay, so let's do that for now. Let's have Member Rice.
And how do they know I'm coming?
Right.
You'll be in touch. I believe they've sent you an email to still on. The chair directly to chair or staff at OMPO and let them know that we had this discussion and who your representative, and you can even ask them, I think, to have a blank alternate as we work through this period.
Thank you, Member Hernandez, for that recommendation. So, so we'll take your suggestion, and then Member Rice will have you represent the Neighborhood Board 11 for the first couple of meetings, and then let us know. And then the board can discuss again, further representation. Member Hernandez.
Yeah. So are we moving on?
Yeah. Are we good? I think we're good. We don't have to vote on it. I think we can just name Member Rice to be the representative, since she did volunteer as well. So. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to 5.6.
So just recently, Hawaii Department of Transportation released their energy security waste reduction plan. This is the outcome of the Navahine Climate Action Settlement, a landmark settlement that puts the state on a path to reduce greenhouse gas emissions across the transportation sector. It's a big plan. It's about 200 pages, including indices. I don't expect everyone to read it, but if you're interested in transportation planning, if you're interested, but the plan really calls on everyone, every citizen really to make a contribution to how are we going to together reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. And that means figuring out if we can, particularly in this neighborhood, if we can change a trip from using a car to using a bus or walking or riding a bike, each trip, if we learn how to be like, oh, I don't need to make my trip in my car. So I encourage you to read the plan. It's on the screen right now. If you scroll down, there's a place to provide comments, and they are accepting comments. It's a very much a work in progress. This plan is expected to be updated annually in the interest of reducing greenhouse gas emissions. And thank you.
Thank you, Member Hernandez. Member Chi.
Just a really quick question, because 200 pages is a bit brutal to read. Is there also a condensed version for laymen like me to read?
I think you can skim it and look for the section highlights because it addresses ground transportation, air transportation, and marine transportation, and recognizing where we can make reductions. So it goes into a whole section about alternate aviation fuel, But I think as individuals, it's more about understanding how we can reduce our personal use of single occupancy vehicles for every single trip.
Okay, thank you, Member Hernandez. And it looks like there is a public comment period dates, which ends on August 31st. Is that correct?
I believe it's currently through July 31st. I have heard some discussion that they're going to continue. Oh, yeah, it looks like it's extended to August 31st. Yes.
Okay, thank you for bringing this up to the board. And if you can send us, or you can send me the link and I'll send it to. Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on, item 5.7, dogs in parks. So as the board is aware, Department of Parks and Recreation had asked for our feedback. There has been discussion as well with other boards since the request for feedback was sent to the boards, and I had sent you board members information regarding discussions and what has been going on in the different boards. As an example, the Neighborhood Board 18 had introduced a resolution proposing a super dog park for Kehi Lagoon. And there were other community members that brought up to make a distinction between sports parks and parks so as not to have sports parks have dogs. So I wanted to kind of gain further discussion on this and see like where the board is at. I know we have had, we've been passing out the QR codes, and thank you to Member Rice, who's been, I believe, the most diligent when it comes to getting public feedback from that discussion on the survey regarding dogs in parks. Member Rice?
I don't have an update on that, but the survey is supposed to be completed by the end of this month, July 31st, and then we'll compile the results, share that with Director Thielen from City and County Parks and Rec, and hopefully some changes will be made. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of public discussions about it because it was interesting to read the materials that you provided, Chair Lee, and to see the different thoughts that different neighborhoods had, like Kaimuki and Neighborhood 18. So lots to learn, but I do know that District 3, my district, is just so heavily dog populated that people are desperate for another place to take their pooches to have fun.
Thank you, Member Rice. Any other discussion on dog parks? Okay, so we'll wait on the results for the surveys. Oh, sure. Go ahead, sir. You can go up to the mic and introduce yourself by stating your first and last name so we have it on the record.
Good evening, Chair and members. My name is Alex Beatty. I live around the corner, so this is my neighborhood board, and I'm here in that capacity only. Speaking about dog parks and the dire need for dog parks in the area, when Moana Beach Park was renovated and had to obtain a special management area and environmental permit a few years ago, the neighborhood board came out against adding a dog park. So there's in a resolution that approved that master plan, a call out that a dog park is not allowed. So that might be something to consider reconsidering, maybe taking a position for the city to consider next time something like that is proposed.
Thank you for bringing that up. Member Vanderbrink.
It's good you brought that up. Some people might not be aware, but the Parks Director, Thielen, she actually cut out Moana Beach Park from the discussion for the time being, probably because of that reason. So it can be discussed separately, and she's mostly considering the other parks in the area that are not allowed for dogs currently, if they should be open or not. And then the separate discussion for Moana later, but we appreciate your talk on that as well.
Thank you for that extra info. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Okay, moving on. The Neighborhood Board 11 presents at Farm Lovers Kaka'ako Farmers Market on Saturdays. So this is something that we have been discussing for a while now in our action committee. And the Farmers Market is more than willing to have us there. They have a tent for us. I didn't confirm whether we'd have a table. We would just need to let them know about a week in advance. I also want to gauge participation in us being at the farmers market since setup is at 6:45 in the morning. So if we can get like a couple of members, I think the earliest, if we want to move forward with this, would be a week or two, not this Saturday, but the next Saturday. So I wanted to get the board's thoughts before we move forward and say, yes, have a tent, but then none of us can be there? Comments, questions? Member Vanderbrink.
My body's gonna hate me for this, but I will be one of the volunteers if you need it to be there at 6:45.
Okay, thank you. Board members, any other? Member Rice.
Will we have materials to hand out or information pamphlet to provide those that do stop by the table? And what's a neighborhood board? Because that will definitely come up, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's a great question, Member Rice. So earlier today, I had sent a link to the board in the event that you wanted to sign up to get agendas. There is also a resource link on NCO that has wonderful infographics and fact sheets that we can print out. And then we can also do one for our neighborhood board, just so people are aware of where it is and whether or not they fall in it. So yeah, I guess we have our first volunteer, which is Member Vanderbrink. So I'll let the farmers market know. I'll be with you as well. We'll come up with a date the next time. Okay, so it looks like we are extending our presence to the neighborhood beyond Member Rice walking around.
And one other thing is I've been in discussions with the general manager of Sam's Club here on Keimoku Street to see if we can do the very same, because it's so obvious people just don't really know what a neighborhood board does, and how they too can participate. So I think that would be really great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So it looks like we are working on our presence at the Alawana Neighborhood Historical Association's meeting, the Farmers Market, and Sam's Club. Thank you, board, for your willingness to be more visible. Did you have something to say, Member?
Chair, I'd like to throw my name in the hat when the Blaisdell Farmers Market night market comes up. When we start to have a presence there, I'll be more than happy to take care of that one.
Okay, thank you, Member Farinas. Appreciate that. That was the Wednesday one, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, board. Okay, moving on. Approval of the June 24th, 2025 regular meeting minutes. Does anyone have any edits, concerns, questions, comments? Okay, can I get a motion to approve? Motion to approve the board minutes from last month?
Yeah, move to, it's good.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Member Hernandez. Any opposition? I don't see any online or in person. Meeting minutes for June 24, 2025 has been approved. Thank you, board. Attendance at other meetings. Have any other board members been attending other meetings that they would like to discuss? Okay, thank you. Moving on. The time is now 7:44. Sub-district reports. Member Jeannie Rice regarding Howard Hughes.
Thank you. Thank you. So if everyone is not aware, Howard Hughes subsidiary had applied for a $2.9 million permit to demolish the Ward Center retail complex. There's no timeline yet, but it's to make way for 2 different luxury condominiums. And they're going to, all the 25 retailers at that neat little shopping center will be going bye-bye, but we just don't know when. Many have moved out already, but it's interesting because new retailers have moved in, which is cool. So get your shopping done before it goes away, I guess. And that's that on that. And one other item I'd like to bring to everyone's attention. This also was on Kaka'ako next door today. And this could be for the city or for HPD. I'm not sure, Department of Transportation. This person is AJ Velez, and he says, I got a notice that Sheridan Park is losing all the parking from the Department of Parks and Recreation Permitting Office starting July 28th. This is some of the only parking available in the neighborhood, and we kind of annoyed about it. They saying this is to prevent further arson, and that's where the playground was set afire. Prevent further arson by making the park more used. I don't know if they've ever seen the park because the park is always in use. The arson is because nothing is ever done about the houseless in the area, not because the park isn't in use. Even when they did the driving, there used to be, I guess, a driver's testing center there. There was always houseless still at the park. Did they do a community inquiry on this? I never got any information about any meeting if they did. So just putting that out there, maybe Mr. Sullivan from the mayor's office can follow up on that and or someone from Department of Transportation or one of our friendly council members. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Rice. Member Hernandez.
I'd just like to point out, recently in June, the Department of Transportation opened the new pedestrian bridge over Ala Moana Boulevard. And if you haven't been on it, it's absolutely a beautiful place to walk, ride your bike, connect. Oh, you are allowed to bicycle on it. And there's a beautiful park that Howard Hughes is maintaining on one side. They're maintaining the landscape on the Kewalo Basin side. It makes for a really unique view of Kewalo Basin. So I encourage everyone to go check it out. It's free and beautiful. It's free to enjoy. Department of Transportation spent a lot of money to make it.
Thank you, Member Hernandez. Appreciate that. Other sub-district reports. I do want to have Member Vanderbrink speak on intention of parades.
Yeah, so I'm afraid I wasn't able to get on the agenda today, so we can't actually take a vote. So I did want to bring up that I want to have the board participate in a parade because we do have this big push for community outreach. And I really support tables and going to events. But I think parades as well is a way to show that we are part of the neighborhood. We are in support of whatever community the parade's on. And in looking at the parade schedule, the next major parade in the area is the Pride Parade, which takes place from Ala Moana into Waikiki. And so I would like to have our board be represented there. We can carry our banner and march probably with the city. So this would actually be a question I want to pose to Mr. Sullivan there when he's able to speak. If we could join the city or the mayor's office in marching as a part of NCO and the neighborhood board for our area. And for our next meeting, I would like to add that onto the agenda to be voted on. And if any members would like to be there, there's no I'm not going to force anyone to be there if you can't make it. And if you need any help walking or need any transportation, we can try and look into that as well to see if you can ride a vehicle or a car and be part of the parade as well.
Member Vanderbrink, thank you. Moving on, residents and community concerns. Do we have anyone from the community? Oh, sorry, Member Farinas.
Is this the part for sub-district reports?
Sorry, yes. Did you have a sub-district report? Apologies.
Is this okay? Thank you, Chair. Yeah, if you'll indulge me, just a few announcements for our sub-district, Sub-District 4. Tomorrow is H3RC, the Hawaii Health Harm Reduction Organization's monthly food drop. It starts at 1 o'clock and it's the makai of salt. And it's a free food nourishment. Please pass on the word to those who are in need. Again, it's a monthly food distribution sponsored by H3RC, Hawaii Health Harm Reduction, along with Hawaii Food Bank. So mahalo to them. And also to highlight my sub-district, on this Friday, there's the monthly creative mornings. And the guest speaker for this Friday is Millie James. She is the co-founder of Moana-Up. I'm not sure if everyone's familiar with Moana-Up. It's a Hawaii-based product company that creates jobs for locals and diversifies the economy via ways of culture, community, and a sense of place. So it's complimentary. Just they ask that you sign up. Light breakfast is served, and it's really a wonderful connection to not just our community, but also to mentorship and the things that's going on there. And again, that's this Friday. And just to also highlight another organization in our community, JOBSA, John A. Burns School of Medicine, the Kaka'ako campus, if you will. This Sunday, they're having an enjoyable walk, meaning you team up with the medical students, they'll help you stretch, and they'll do a little talk on health and wellness. They'll also be providing some games, prizes, raffles, snacks. So, walk with your neighbors, get to know your community, and also grill those students, medical students, keep them on their toes. And along that side, they also have, JOBSM has a pop-up food market open market. We always try to diversify where we get our produce to support local farmers and what have you. So this is something new that they're trying, and it's going to take place on this Monday, again, at the Jobs on Kaka'ako campus. So yeah, that's what's happening in our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Farinas. Any other sub-district reports at this time? Okay, thank you, Board. Moving on to residents and community concerns. We are looking at 3 minutes per speaker. Mr. Kishan? Okay, we are going to start the timer
Just
now.
just quick to put it on maybe the radar for our elected representatives. Bill 691 was recently passed, as well as another bill. I forgot what it was, but and it was signed into law by the governor. And the bill says that essentially youth under the age of 12 are no longer criminally culpable. And I do understand a lot of the different research behind that. I wonder if maybe I can get a response if, and this does happen, if a school shooting, for example, happened and the child was younger than 12, what would happen if they're not criminally culpable? If there was a fatality with a teacher or a student? That's my concern for that law. And also my concern for the other bill under 21, kind of making the no longer life without parole, or maybe even life if somebody under 21 starts killing other people, which does happen. So that's my question is if they can address that at some point next meeting.
Mr. Gishan, thank you. Any other community members who would like to bring up their community concerns? Okay, Mr. Ian Washburn, we have 3 minutes. We will start the timer. Okay, we have a member chief take care of it.
I can keep track of the minutes. One last thing. Okay, so,
Good.
now? Okay, good. So, anyway, I'll try to do this in 3 minutes.
Mr. Washburn, if you can step to the mic so the
Sorry,
people.
my name is Ian Washburn. I'm from Atkinson neighborhood, 419 Atkinson Drive. Thank you. So anyway, as of yesterday, it appears that the YMCA has not yet presented their zone change application to the DPP, as RM Toll Corporation said would be done during their presentation at the NB 11 May 27th meeting. Okay, I have 9 things here. In short, the Central Y is violations of law undertaken at the behest of YMCA of Honolulu upper management, including 1, allowing adults and children to be using the large central YMCA recreational room above their parking area that has no windows nor mechanical ventilation, strictly a violation of Department of Health and other health regulations. 2, the alteration of buildings eligible to be entered into the Registry of Historic Buildings per SHIP D without DPP and SHIP D approval. 3, the sandblasting of the stucco skin of the Wise Mackett Memorial Building going right down to the structural elements. As this building was built in 1951, it is certain that asbestos was used throughout the building, including the structural concrete now exposed to the public. The Y has made no effort to test for it as asbestos. HIOSH has not yet been notified. 4, the engaging in commercial enterprise by renting space to unpermitted food trucks. 5, allowing these food trucks and other temporary structures to block the fire lane. Now, I think you've heard me talk about that to the police and the fire. 6, ordering the comprehensive painting of murals and other ornamentation on these historic buildings, all done without permits. Many neighbors are not happy with what they see as a desecration of historic buildings, as well as an affront to the aesthetic harmony of the surrounding buildings and neighborhood. 7, finally, and perhaps most distressing to our neighbors, was the July 5th destruction by the Y of 2 healthy and safe 60-foot palm trees. The Central YMCA Facilities Director, Mr. Richard Wayne Turner Jr., says that this tree removal was based on safety issues. He says the trees were dropping coconuts. Close inspection of these trees clearly shows there are no coconuts on them. Many of us neighbors think the real reason for destroying these beautiful, healthy, and safe trees was simply to make room for more of the unpermitted food trucks. These trees were within the front yard setback area. As such, approval for their destruction from the DPP was required before their destruction. 8, engaging in the operation of a commercial business, the YMCA Hotel, without licenses or permits and without declaring the unrelated business income on the Honolulu YMCA's annual 990 federal tax returns going back at least 10 years. 9, closing down all central YMCA services and programs starting over 10 years ago, while still benefiting from federal 501c3 and state property tax treatments that are based on the supplying of these long since suspended services. We Atkinson neighborhood residents are pleading with all relevant CNC and state policy enforcement agencies to collectively do their job and put an immediate stop to these clear violations.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Washburn, for your concerns. Appreciate it. And thank you for giving us a written copy as well. The board was forwarded your email, which outlines the same concerns that you've had. Thank you, Mr. Washburn. And I do hope that some of our legislators and representatives can address some of his concerns when we get to the reports.
Mayor's office had a response to the thing about the process, whether
We can get to that when we do the reports for each of the different representatives and legislators. Thank you. Okay, we have another one, Member Chi for community concerns.
Sorry, just reading this one out for Mr. Higa. I know he had mentioned earlier he had a concern for HPD. Since HPD isn't here, maybe the mayor's office would be able to respond to this one. But his question is that is the e-bike or a bicycle can have a leg rest so that the rider can pack another person. Mr. Higa saw a man pack a boy on a bike on Pensacola Street going on the right way. If anything happened, the driver is responsible.
Because I just saw it about a couple hours ago on Pensacola Street. One boy and they have a leg rest. Maybe like a moped is illegal, yeah? Is illegal?
May I?
Sure, Member Hernandez.
So riding two people on a moped is illegal, even though we see it very commonly. I was surprised to learn this. I thought it must be legal because it happens so often, but it is illegal. And then those other devices that you talk about, if it has a peg instead of a pedal that works, that is often what we seem to call a high-speed electric device, and technically should not be riding on city streets. And unfortunately, we had a state law. The governor just vetoed it that would have cleared up this issue. But we do have a law in the city and county that describes the 3 classes of bicycle, and those things with, if it has a peg, it's not a bicycle.
Oh, I see.
Member Hernandez, thank you for addressing that.
Thank you.
Member, Mr. Higa, thank you for your question.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other residents and community concerns? Okay, community member Lynn Moriano.
Just 3 things. To piggyback on what Member Rice said, reference Sheridan Park, the concern that some of the community members mentioned to me, this change that's taking place where they're taking away parking spaces at Sheridan Park was given a short notice. I'm wondering why they did not, the Park and Recreation that knew that they're moving their office from the Frank Fosse building to the Sheridan Park area, that they should have come to the board and at least let us know so we could have made mention to the members through the neighborhood board. That wasn't done. And the rationale that they said is by reserving those parking spaces for those employees, which is good. But then they said it increases the foot traffic. And so that would dissuade people from arson, it's kind of lame and not common sense because their work area is from Monday through Friday. So what happens after hours? What happens after 5 o'clock to 6 in the morning? What happens on the weekends? What about holidays? So now that they gave to the residents, that's why residents are up in arms. Second point I would like to point out is on bicyclists. Driving up and down, there's a bicyclist that's driving not in the bike lanes, but they're driving all across the street, popping wheelies in the middle of traffic. And it's very concerning from the standpoint it's going to cause an accident. And we're already seeing some of those as well. So I'd like the board to ask the mayor's representative if they can address that with HPD to have more presence in citing or warning, but also citing those members. And then lastly, we mentioned this before, is the right turn. No right turn on red. A couple of times, I almost got hit 4 times this week, walking from on Pi'ikoi, across from Pi'ikoi to Pi'ikoi, just going across on Kapilani, going to my condo. And while I'm in the crosswalk, cars are already making right turns and almost hit myself. And I can't walk fast. I can't run fast. I used to. But it's not fair and it's kind of dangerous. So we're talking about pedestrian. Part of that is that no right turn law that was put on, which is a good reason, but it also caused a hazard, particularly during the peak periods, which we talked about before, because cars are waiting to make that right turn. And by the time they're ready to do it, the light changes again because of pedestrians. So I would like the board to address that through the mayor's office.
Yep. Thank you. Mr. Mariano. Member Vanderbrink, you had a comment.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to add on. I also feel that concerned with the no right on red on the corner of Kanunu and Kalakaua. Whenever you're crossing headed towards Waikiki, there's always a line of about 10, 15 cars that are turning when you're supposed to be crossing that street there. And so oftentimes I have to wait there, hoping that all the cars pass, or put my foot forward and see if they brake. And if not, I jump back. So that is a bit of a concern there, especially for more residents that might not be as able as me. But yeah, I hear that concern and agree.
Thank you, Member Vanderbrink. Member Hernandez.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. Pedestrian safety is something that I spend a lot of time on personally and professionally, particularly in this neighborhood. Crossing Kapiolani, the corner where I live, the speed limit is 35 miles an hour. It's 6 lanes of traffic. You can never cross the street before the light starts flashing. And if you don't push the button, which I call it a beg button, if you don't push the button, the pedestrian will never get the opportunity to cross safely. Right turns on red are very dangerous at that intersection. Left turns, people coming down Ward and making a left turn, almost every single cycle of the light, a car will violate the pedestrian's right of way to get that last turn in. They got to go. So it's something that I am concerned with, and I would like to invite to tell us what's happening with the intersections in our neighborhood. Which ones can we adjust timing for the lights so that pedestrians can cross safely? Thank you, Citizen Mariano.
Thank you, Member Hernandez, and for also suggesting to, hopefully we can have them in a future meeting. Appreciate that. Okay, the time is now 8:06. We are moving on to elected official reports. We have Mr. Ben. Oh, sorry. We have one more. Oh, go ahead, sir.
Hello again, Chair. My name is Alex Beatty. I live in this, and I mostly wanted to do two things. One, express extreme frustration because I don't know where else to do it, that my park got burned down. I'm so sad and I'm so upset. And I'm doubly upset that we spent some time talking about parking today and not about what's going to happen to the park to improve it. So that's seems to be a little bit of misplaced focus. And I would like to, again, I just don't know where to express that frustration. Okay, that part's done. So I do have some things I'd like to advocate for. For one, when that park is reconstructed, I would like to advocate that we as a community look for opportunities to participate in the actual labor, planting of trees, the requesting of equipment. There's not any senior equipment there. That's something that could be established. There are seniors who go to that park. There's no dog poo bags. I know it's not a dog park, but dogs poo there. And there's no trash can lid, so there are a lot of flies. Speaking of trees and pedestrian safety, access to the park is quite perilous. It's also quite hot. So if you are a property owner, I would advocate that you plant a tree in your front yard or request one be planted in front of your house. The Division of Urban Forestry of DPR will plant it for free if you take care of it. You can email Duff Urban Forestry at, I think it's duff@honolulu.gov. Planting a tree in your own front yard, go ahead and do it. Please do it. The sidewalks leading up to the park also need quite a bit of help. The intersection of Rycroft and Beekoi is impossible to pass if you have any mobility issues. I know that that's something DPR is already attempting to address, but now seems like as good a time as any. And planting of trees along that area will also make the approach a lot nicer. The crosswalks are all gone. There just aren't any marked crosswalks anymore. So I had somebody tell me that they were allowed to block the intersection because it's not painted anymore. So that's another, kind of minor issue that could be addressed. Hopefully DPR is looking at some of these broader things, or maybe the city is looking at some of these broader actions, but I think we as a community can do some of this stuff ourselves. I'm starting to look at adopting the park. I don't think anybody has adopted the park. You can do it as an individual, and it doesn't take that much. There's some paperwork. And along with adopting the park, you're allowed to do park plantings. You're allowed to host park cleanup events. So that's something that I'm starting to look into now. This is the first time I've come before this neighborhood board, so I hope to continue to attend as time permits. But I really wanted to get all of that out there, let other people know. Please be frustrated with me. And if you see me out there sweeping the park or picking up stuff, go ahead and lend a hand. They sell these little trash grabbers that kids love. So if you grab the trash grabber and you show a kid that it's a good time, they'll start picking up trash too. Like that's been a pretty effective method for me before the park got burned down. But maybe there's something to that about getting more folks in that park. Maybe the neighborhood board sets up a table and they tell people about it. Oh yeah, so I'll try to keep you guys informed if I end up adopting the park and if there are any events that are coming up like cleanups. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beatty. If we can get your contact information after the meeting, just so we can continue to correspond. Thank you.
I signed in.
Appreciate that. Member Vanderbrink.
Yes, I just want to mention, so I just want to mention, I do want to apologize that we couldn't bring it up. That I know right after the park did get, the playground did get burnt down. I actually did go over there a few hours later to see the extent of the damage and talk with the representative from the parts department who did go there to survey it. And this has already been reported in the news, but they have the money for it. It's going to be rebuilt. It's going to take more time than what the Wahiawa Park took, which was 5 to 6 weeks. This is probably going to take several months, but I do hope they keep a surprise if it goes beyond that or when it opens so we can be there. And I'd like to encourage you as well, if you do host anything in the park, any sort of cleanup or tree plantings, you're welcome to email us or the chair. We can disseminate it among us, put it on our agenda, our announcements, and make sure that community members do get out there. And I also share your concern about it was vandalized. We had our dog park vandalized. That is a concern in this community about our park seeing vandalism, seeing crime in there, and something more needs to be done than what already is being done, because We don't want to see this happen again in our community, especially this year with all the recent instances that have happened. So, thank you.
Thank you, Member Vanderbrink and Mr. Beatty for coming as well and letting us know of all these concerns. We have our action committee as well, which you've heard earlier that we hold. It's a little bit more informal. The discussion is more, we can go more in depth just because the agenda isn't as restricted. So we'd love for you to come in so we can talk more about the issues that you brought up. Mr. Kishan?
Just really quick, maybe an idea, can HPD put their little blue light cameras that they have, stuff like that? Can they put those at parks? I don't know. Response to that.
Thank you. I think they, I forget who had put more cameras in parks, but let's get back to you on that. Member Vanderbrink?
Yeah, I just want to mention the city council did pass a bill to install more cameras at parks in every district that they represent. I know for ours, we're split between Councilmember Nishimoto and Councilmember Dos Santos Tam, and I saw on the list none of our parks in our neighborhood are mentioned. It's all the outside our neighborhood parks. That might be something to bring up to install more cameras in the parks there to try and deter criminal activity.
Thank you. Thank you, community, for bringing up your concerns. Moving on to elected official reports. We are now at 8:12 p.m. Mr. Ben Sullivan from Mayor Blangiardi's office.
You're always here, so you get more seniority.
Good evening, board. It's Ben Sullivan, Mayor's Office of Climate Change, Sustainability, and Resiliency. I'm going to try to keep it to 3 minutes. There's a lot to cover, so I'm going to use my East Coast speed. Please stop me if you don't understand what I'm saying. Member Vanderbrink, I just want to commend you. I really would love the idea of the board participating in the Pride Parade. We have done so in the last 3 years. I usually ride a beaky in that. It's really fun. Members Mariano and Rice, I'd love to see you at the Oahu MPO meetings. I'm sorry, Citizen Mariana. We have our differences on transportation. That's the beauty of the public process. So thank you for that. Mayor's report. One highlight, maybe that's relevant to this group. The city began an 80-acre master planning process for the Iwilei Kapalama subcorridor. So associated with the rail, and the stations that are going to be built there, the city is actually doing a major housing development and looking at all the infrastructure needs around that area, as well as how to deal with some of the flooding and sea level rise issues. So just for your awareness, that work is ongoing. Now to departmental issues. So McCoy Pavilion, Member Rice, thank you so much. Department of Parks and Recreation doesn't currently have plans for any kind of a celebration. They acknowledged and appreciated your interest in doing so, and they certainly will extend an invitation should that be celebrated. And I think they'd be glad to see you there and the board there. Ala Moana Regional Park cleanup. They did provide information and suggested we contact Denny Higa from Community Relations Specialist for DPR. Honolulu.gov. There's a phone number here as well, 808-768-3034. Is this available for numbers or is this? Yeah, great. So we can share that with the chair and make sure you get that information. I think there's also a form there. And Member Rice, this relates to your inquiry about a cleanup. I would love to be part of that. So please let me know if you decide to proceed with that. I'll do everything I can to help that happen. More serious business. Central YMCA rezoning. There was a question about whether the meeting qualified as in terms of requirements for the revised ordinances of Honolulu to meet the requirement to have a meeting with the board. And in fact, it does. It was agended. There was a discussion that it's the only requirement. There was a question also about notice to surrounding areas and surrounding businesses. The notices were sent to the HOA or the HOAs for those buildings adjacent to the Y. And revised ordinance of Honolulu does not require that the notices go to the individual unit owners, which can be a lot more onerous to find the addresses and obtain. So that the information I have is that the notices were sent to the HOA boards. The next item is that vacant lots within the Moana-Kaka'ako neighborhood or district. This response came in a little bit late, so I'm not sure if I have a full response. But the Department of Planning and Permitting asked that we actually internally are sending it to the Department of Budgets, and that response came in late. So I have to get back to you next month on that question. And that is all I have. If there's any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them.
Thank you. Questions, board? Member Rice?
Thank you. Thank you, Ben, for that report as always. Could you just please repeat for the cleanup, the person at Department of Parks and Rec to contact? You were speaking way too fast.
You're an East Coaster. You should know. You should be
No.
okay. I will
My
happily
ears
do
don't.
that. This is going to come back to you from the chair, but the gentleman's name is Denny Higa. He's the Community Relations Specialist at DPR, and his email is dhiga8@honolulu.gov. His telephone number is 808-768-3034, and you will be receiving the form, which is called the Adopt a Park Volunteer Agreement. And that's consistent with what we heard from our friend Alex here. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Member Vandenbrink?
So I'm so glad to hear you want to are excited if we can participate in the Pride Parade. In a reference, because I do want to participate under the city or the mayor's office and not have to do it ourselves and pay. What would be the process if it's approved by the board? Do we just tell you and you get the okay from them, or how would that go?
I'm gonna rely on my colleagues from NCO to circulate that question, and we will get back to you next month and let you know. When is the date of the parade? I guess we got to figure that out.
Yeah, it's towards the end of October.
Okay,
Or
so
middle of
would it be adequate to give you an August response? Or is that cutting it close?
I think it should be good as long as we have it on the agenda so we can officially vote on it. So if we can get
Okay.
the response back, get it voted on and approved, and then we can plan it out and see who would be interested in attending from there and plan out transportation wise, all that stuff.
Okay, I'll make the note to work with Chair in the interim. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Any other questions? Member Rice?
Thank you. I'm not sure if this is in your bailiwick, but this sidewalk and I know Dale knows a lot about this. The Mackay side of the sidewalk in front of Auto Source on Kapiolani Boulevard and Keimoku Street. There's a bus stop there, but it's just dirt and it's very unattractive. And I'm not sure what department is responsible for the maintenance of the dirt. That should be grass. And there's trash everywhere all day long. I'm surprised the Auto Source people haven't said anything. So I'm just wondering who's responsible and if we can get word to who is and get that cleaned up. It's really unattractive. And it's right in the core of town. So thank you.
Understood. We'll pass that along. Thank you.
Thank you. Board members, any other questions for Mr. Sullivan? Okay.
May I?
Oh, Mr. Hernandez.
I just
Member
like to remind folks, the city maintains an app. It's called 311, which is a great place to document concerns that you have. You can take pictures, you can describe the situation, and I've found, and they track responses. I found really good response using the 311 app. I can help you.
Thank you, Member Hernandez, for bringing that up. Mr. Sullivan, thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you, Chair. Aloha.
Sure, we'll indulge that. If you could make it quick, Mr. Washburn, as we are now hitting the 8:20 mark and we still have the rest of them.
Say these were mailed to the AOA boards, but they were never received by any of those people. So there should be an affidavit with a mailing list. Where do I get the mailing list where you sent, where the DPP sent, not the DPP, but where RM Towel sent the notices of the meeting? Where do I get that mailing list?
So, you may not be satisfied with this answer, but the response I was given and the information I have is regarding revised ordinance of Honolulu and the requirements associated with that. I'm not familiar with whether there is any provision for providing an affidavit-based mailing list. So that would be a legal question, and perhaps I can give you the actual revised ordinance. It's section 21-2.40-2, subsection B2. To read it from my notes right here.
Hey, Mr. Washburn, thank you for that question. And Mr. Sullivan, thank you for your response to that as well. Thank you, Mr. Washburn, for bringing that up. We have heard you, and so have the people who are here at this meeting this evening. Okay, let's move on to Councilmember Scott Nishimoto or his office representative.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Um, so I did drop our weekly e-blast in the chat. Feel free to sign up for that. And this month, our office submitted a riser request to address the uplifted sidewalk on the corner of Kapiolani and Pensacola. The repairs are scheduled for September next month, or yeah, September 2025, and they're gonna address the tree roots for causing the uplift, and the tree may also need to be trimmed, so they're gonna address that as well. And I'm still waiting for an update on an actual opening date for McCoy Pavilion. It is substantially complete, and I will update everyone on that once I receive an update from DPR. And our office also submitted a riser request to clear some trash that is at the bus stop fronting Don Quixote as well. And I'm still waiting for updates on that. And that will be all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson, on behalf of Councilmember Nishimoto. Board questions? Okay, moving on. Councilmember Tyler Dos Santos Tam or Ms. Robin Hensky, if she is online. Okay, we don't have it on, they may have did they send over their report? Okay, so the report from Councilmember Dos Santos Tam's office has been dropped in the chat. Moving on to Representative Ikaika Olds or his office representative. Okay, I don't see them online. Representative Adrian Tam or his office representative. Okay. Representative Kim Koko Iwamoto or her office rep. Okay. Rep Iwamoto, we see you.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Good evening. Thank you so much for the opportunity to give you an update. I am a part of the legislature's Good Government Caucus. It's bipartisan and bicameral. And we will be having a check-in and listening session next Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. And it is, you can attend in person or via Zoom, and it will be in conference room 325. And it should be an interesting topic. It includes, and we ask that the community raise these considerations to like what they want to see, but it includes open government, public access, issues of transparency, campaign finance reform, ethics, and elections. So those are the broad topics that the community should weigh in on and make sure that we are representing the community correctly on those issues of good government. Also, we are still collecting. I reported last time I was there in person, I reported on the survey results that we received. We received around 600 results so far. I actually, because all the bills and all the issues that we surveyed on are still up in the air, your feedback and the community's feedback is welcome. So I included that in the link. If anyone wants to complete the survey, if they haven't done so already, they still can. In fact, we'll probably be doing the next, we'll be inputting data as it comes in, but we'll probably do the next presentation data in November before the next legislative session. Yeah, and there, I just also want to thank your cameraman, because being here on online on this WebEx, the camera work is really incredible. I really feel like I'm there because the cameraman is focusing in on people asking questions, on the audience. It's really excellent. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Member Mono. Thank you to Spencer from Olelo. I'm handling that. Appreciate it. Okay, questions for Representative Kim Koko Uemoto.
Thank you,
Madam
Chair. So for Representative Iwamoto, I had a question in relation that actually died at the beginning of the year since you were one of the ones who introduced it. It was the Korean language program, HB 471. I only bring this up because we do have someone who's interested in having a resolution passed in support of it. And I know that some of our members had some questions regarding it. So I was wondering if you happen to have any data related to the bill, since our resolution is kind of a copy of what it is, and if you'd be willing to provide that to the board so we can read over the data.
Yes, I can follow up on that. I don't have it off the top of my head, I'm sorry. But I definitely could make sure that we gather whatever information is available. And also, obviously this is I represent you. So if your resolution passes and all the information that you contain in your resolution, we will definitely make sure it gets added to the testimony. Because oftentimes when bills are heard, the public testimony and the public data sharing is so important. It makes it into the committee report often. So it's really important that the public show up and make sure it highlights what's relevant to the legislature, and then it gets reflected back to the people of Hawaii. So I'll definitely follow up with, what else is going on with that bill.
Thank you, Representative. And I do just want to say I really do support public testimony. It's really easy to make count on the government website for the legislature and to submit testimony that way. It's really easy and straightforward. So I would also encourage people to do that as well.
Thank you, Member Van Brink and Representative Iwamoto for being here this evening. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Senator Sharon Moriwaki, who is here in person. Thank you, Senator.
Aloha, I just passed out our neighborhood board report. Thank you. The governor vetoed just 9 of the 20 bills that he intended to veto. I have here some of the bills that I thought were of interest that you had shared with us that passed. All bills, there are 313 bills passed. So anything that wasn't vetoed became law with or without his signature. So if you knew or had any interest in any bills that were not vetoed, they are law. So you can, go through the list. We've got a really good website, as you've mentioned, and I would encourage you to do that. For the bills that did not pass and you're interested in, please let us know. We do work during the interim to look at what didn't pass and whether they should pass and what corrections need to be made, like the EV bill that Mr. Hernandez talked about. There was a kind of oversight of not really clarifying that this bill would be addressing EV bikes and not cars, but it wasn't clear. So that bill was vetoed, and that should be easy enough to fix next session. I do want to point out that we were very successful in passing a number of capital improvement projects. So on the back side of the report are all of the appropriations that were made that were relevant to this district, from the Alawai Canal, debris cleaning to wall repairs. In the Kaka'ako area, looking at Makai, there is contaminated land. So monies are put for geotechnical, they dig in and see what the soil is like and the condition is like and whether you can build on it or what you can build on it. For the McKinley High School, for this church. And this church, I want to clarify because we had a number of calls of people saying, why are you supporting the church? These are grants and aid that various organizations throughout the state apply for. And it could be any nonprofit, could be the bicycling league. It can be churches, it can be community centers, social service programs. Everybody comes in with requests, both operating and capital, for what they feel that they really need to continue supporting the communities they serve. And these nonprofits, I must say, are very important to the state because the state does not provide services other than the state hospitals and the schools. So these nonprofits are agents of the state. They come in and they provide various services that we do not or cannot provide. So when they come in for grants, we look at them to see what is the need. If we give them the funds, will it help the community? So a lot of the kinds of programs that are funded are of that nature. So for example, a Christian church, which a lot of people say, why are you supporting a church? Well, it's to fix the roof here, which really supports all of us that use the church for community programs. So you need to look at it in terms of what is the purpose of the funding that's needed so that the roof doesn't leak so we can continue to meet here. So those are the kinds of programs that the grants and aid support. On the capital improvements budget, that comes from departments and administrative agencies through the department. So we fund things that are important to the community. So the Mackay area has been a real problem in terms of not having a comprehensive plan that's been updated. There's also contamination of the land, so what can be built on it. So funding went to that this year. The other is the Hawaii Convention Center. There, and I mean, if you toured the center, you would see that it's a big disrepair, and they are hosting a number of organizations, and the leak on the roof was so terrible that they had to stop one of the conferences, move them out. And so it was an eyesore, but also we lost revenue. So they decided to just close down this convention center, make all the fixes that needed to be made, and that cost $34 million, $36 million. We also are looking at housing, and a number of millions were put into housing, affordable housing, both rental and infrastructure. There's two projects in Kaka'ako. One is a 99-year pilot project that is right on across from the Symphony in the Jack in the Box area that has been acquired by the state. So that's to pilot a project that will be selling leases, 99-year leases to residents. And it's in the planning stages at this point. And the other is a kupuna supportive housing. I do want to say that this became a priority because we have 3 kupuna housing in the district. And in one of them, in 1 year, they found 3 residents dead in their rooms. And the only way they found them was the smell that came out of their rooms. So with that as a problem, what we see as a big need is the gap between like assisted living and independent living for seniors. And if we had a supportive housing, which would be an intermediary where you're independent, but you have wraparound services, so somebody will look in on you so that you don't go without food or you don't go without help, then you can keep people longer in the community at a lower cost than going into assisted living or long-term care. So that is also a property that we are developing, which is on Halikawila and South Street. So these are projects that have started. I'm really excited about them. I hope that this will be able to have our community support more than just luxury high rises. So I'm hoping that with this, we will be able to have a more diverse community. So I'll be willing to answer.
Thank you, Senator Marwaki, for that wonderful report regarding CIPs. Member Vanderbrink.
Thank you. I'll try to make this quick since we're short on time. In reference to the convention center that you brought up, I know I've been bringing this up to Rep. Tam several times when he's been here. One of my new concerns that I found out is that they are allowing small scale events during the course of the construction and are limiting access. For me, KawaiiCon's one of those events. They're limiting it to around 10 to 15,000 people. But I also found out the parking for the convention center is going to be completely blocked off for the public during the course of the construction, which means for the 15,000 people that are going to attend it, there's nowhere to park. And a lot of people informally park at Ala Moana, which technically isn't allowed. And I'm worried if they start cracking down on parking there, there's going to be nowhere in the area for people to park if they're coming down for the event. So I would just like to ask if you can possibly look into that, especially since there is a big empty lot right across from the convention center that could probably park 50 cars easily, or even the construction workers' cars so they can open up the parking lot.
So can you just give me the specifics and I'll look into it?
I mean, in terms of the construction company there, see if they can open up parking during the small scale events. So that way that
That and
people,
also the dates and what you're talking about and the attendance that you're expecting so that I've got some idea of what you're asking.
yes. So I don't have the KawaiiCon dates on memory, but it's not just that
You can
event
just
that's going to
email
be
me.
held.
Just email.
Yep, I'll sure do so. And it's like 15,000 people they announced that they're allowing in. So I know there's going to be a lot of need for parking there, but I can provide you an email for that with all the details so you can look into it at greater depth. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vanderbrink. Senator Marwaki, thank you for being here this evening. Okay.
I'll introduce Joe Kopshai. He's my CIP staff. He's very good in responding to any questions as well.
Okay. Thank you for that introduction, Joe. Welcome to the Neighborhood Board. Okay, moving on to Governor Josh Green's representative. I see them online.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. I sent the governor's newsletter in the chat, and then I also dropped where you can sign up for the monthly newsletter. You'll get an email. It's really nice just to have that come straight to your inbox, so you're not waiting on me every month to give you the update. But in this past month's newsletter, there is a feature on the new state fire marshal. Dory Booth is her name. There's also a write-up on Matt Elliott, who is UH's new athletics director. There's also a big feature on the Ala Moana pedestrian walkway, which I think particularly interests this neighborhood. Great write-up. I'd give it a read, as well as just more information on our community. But I'm happy to take any questions now that I can take back to the governor's office.
Thank you, Ms. Stallings, for that report. Member Hernandez.
Thank you. I just had a question regarding governor's veto of 958. He referenced commerce and equal protection clauses of the Constitution, and it was sort of a hypothetical on that. But then just the other day, Matson announced that they would no longer ship electric vehicles. So I'm wondering where the governor comes down on how that is affects electric vehicles, given that he vetoed the bill on related to e-bikes.
I have written down your question. I'm unfortunately not an expert, but I'll take this back to his office and I can provide an update at the next meeting. But also, depending on the preference of this neighborhood board, I can send an email as soon as I have a response.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Member Hernandez, for posing that question, and Ms. Stallings for bringing that back to the governor's office. Any other questions from the board? Okay, let's move back. I see Representative Ikaika Olds online.
Yeah. Apologize for my tardiness, everybody. I was bathing my kids. Put this guy down. Just gonna do this real quick for you folks. Again, apologize. Thank you for circling back. So HB 943 was signed into law by the governor earlier this month as Act 299. So this would be the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Treatment Center program under the Department of Health. So hopefully this will have a substantial impact on the whole situation. And I just want to say I saw Senator Milwaukee, thank her so much for all of this. She introduced the companion bill, and she was the saving grace for WHAM from the Senate during the conference committee. So she saved the day. So thank you, Senator. And our office is conducting an interim 2025 survey right now. Individuals who live in the precinct that the Moana-Kaka'ako neighborhood board would fall into should have already received their surveys last week, maybe Thursday. And so far, we have about 120 responses that have come in either via the SurveyMonkey survey online, or they have mailed their surveys back. I'm also walking the district and the other parts of the district that are accessible and administering the survey in person. So if you haven't finished your survey yet, I would love to hear from you folks. This will help dictate bill planning for legislation in the 2026 session. And we're also going to be using it as data to be able to codify and lean against when it comes to the priorities that the district is highlighting. So I may not necessarily introduce a bill. What I'm looking for right now is about security on the Big Island was one of the comments that a Kapuna had written in the Kalakau homes. And it may not necessarily be enough for me to draft a bill for this one individual, but it'll be something that I will be thinking of. So if you haven't done so already, I look forward to seeing your responses in the mail or online. And I'm free for any questions.
Thank you, Representative Olds. Questions from the board? Okay, thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you.
The time is now 8:43. We are going to one of the last agenda items on here, agency reports. We have HCDA. Ms. Francine Murray.
Aloha. Oh. Hi there. It's Francine Murray from HCDA. I put a link to our newsletter in the chat. It features an article on Act 252, which the governor signed earlier this month. This act allows HCDA to work on projects outside of the HCDA community development districts, which is a huge change for us. It also allows HCDA to use revenue bonds to develop infrastructure improvement projects statewide. The newsletter also features an article on invasive species. We did that because of the skunk that they found at Kaka'ako Waterfront Park last month. So it tells you about how to report a sighting on invasive species. And then last month, Member Rice mentioned the lack of landscaping at the public storage on Kapiolani Boulevard. So we visited the site with Executive Director Craig Nakamoto and issued a notice of violation because the landscaped storefront was a requirement of their development permit. So we followed up with the facility manager and were updated yesterday. They said they're fully committed to getting this resolved, and they received the proposal and scope of work from their vendor and have routed it through their company for approval. They're estimating that the work will start in late August. So I'm hoping that that's before the next neighborhood board meeting. So that is our update to address Member Rice's concern from last month. And I'm trying to make it quick. Do you have any questions for us?
Thank you, Ms. Francine Murray. Question, Member Rice.
Thank you, Francine, for that update. Appreciate it. Just a quick question about public storage. Will the landscaping be as well down Kamakei Street and around to Waimanu Street? So basically the whole property, or just Kapiolani frontage? Do you know? You may not know.
Sorry, I don't know that detail. All I was told is that they're going to replace the irrigation, which is all broken on Kapiolani Boulevard, and they're going to redo that landscaping. I don't know if they're going to go all the way around and redo all of it.
Because
I just
it's a mess all the way ground. So it's what was planted years ago, the bushes that are, it's a catch-all for anything that blows. So any kind of trash, so it's all stuck in there. Okay, maybe we can find out later. I have received a number of questions about things in District 3 and particularly the Kolawalo Dog Park. People are wondering about security, and while there are signs here to call API security, people have called and they say they do not patrol. So while the signs are up in both the big dog side and the little dog side, when people call, nothing happens. So people are wondering who do they call? So maybe we can get an answer other than HPD, who is so burdened and overworked and short-staffed that I just feel if you've got API security on call. Before the dog park was built, API security was at Kolawalo Makai every hour. And now you barely see them. So that's number one. Number two, trash in Kolawalo Park and the dog park. It seems like trash, especially in the dog park, the big dog park section. Now that it's reopened, everybody's so happy. But there's a lot of poop in that basket. So maybe that could be attended to a little more frequently. I don't know what the schedule is, but someone said there was stuff there for days. And also in the park outside of the big dog park where the Ohana sculpture is, a lot of the houseless people throw tons of trash in there and it just sits there for days. So maybe someone can address that. I think that's it for the moment. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Member Rice, for bringing that up. Francine, if you could come up with, if you've got a lot, if you can come up with the responses, we can send it to the board so they're able to be addressed. Oh,
Okay.
one more from Member
One
Rice.
more item. I'm sorry, Francine, one more item. This is regarding Kewalo Basin and Howard Hughes Corporation and their ward security. It seems at Kewalo Basin Harbor, there's a lot of trash all over the place. And another comment about why aren't their trash bins locked? So if their trash bins are locked, then people can't get in them and the trash isn't overflowing or just pulled out and left. So maybe someone can reach out to Howard Hughes Corporation and ask them to lock their trash bins. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Member
Thank
Rice,
you.
and thank you, Ms. Francine Murray. So hopefully we get answers from DCCA with those questions. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, Honolulu Authority for Rapid Transportation. I saw Mr. Harry Cho.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Harry Cho with the Honolulu Authority for Rapid Transportation. Sorry, let me just quickly share my screen. Just wanted to make a quick announcement and invite everyone to an upcoming historic preservation workshop that HART will be hosting on Saturday, August 9th from 1 to 5 p.m. at the Aloha Tower Marketplace. The event is open to the public and we'll be validating parking. And there will be a special presentation from our staff about historic preservation or historic properties and preservation efforts that HART is taking around the rail alignment. So we definitely welcome everyone to join us there. But besides that, I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Cho. Member Fernandez.
Hi, Harry. Thank you so much for being here this evening and also for your response regarding an additional cantilever style station, which is going to be at the Kapalama station. Now, my pointed question to you, is it HART's hard stance of not having an escalator to possibly the busiest station due to its location to major employment centers? I mean, I understand that you're trying to save money, be on time, et cetera, but this is my investment, my community's investment. We'd like our dollars to be well spent. So again, understanding that in cutting back costs, that there will be no escalators at this particular station that could potentially be the most busiest due to its location in the urban core to major employment centers. And I understand if you cannot answer this, this evening, but yeah, kindly get back to me. And again, I appreciate you getting back to me via the email and the cantilever station. Thanks, Harry.
Yeah, sure. I could certainly give you a little more insight into the reasoning behind not having escalators in the final segment of the project. But I can get back to you on that later through an email or next month.
Thank you, Mr. Chom. Member Hernandez.
Yeah, I would just like to echo Member Farinas' comments. The lack of an escalator is just really bizarre. And we really hope that Hart can revisit that and understand that modern transportation systems use escalators.
Thank you, Member Fernandez. Member Van Brink.
I just want that as well. The escalators are extremely important in the transportation centers. I know when I ride the rail, any other location, I always use the escalator because there's no AC, it's open air. People can get really hot walking up 3-4 flights of stairs.
Thank you, Member Van der Brink. So, Mr. Cho, hopefully you can come up with if not tonight, obviously, since we're running low on time, if you can come up with answers, we do have the board members that have brought up the concern. So thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you. Will do.
Okay, Board of Water Supply. I don't think they're here. Let's just move on to announcements. There are upcoming events. There's the Dick Evans Memorial Race on August 24th. Aloha Festivals in September. We do have a link, honolulu.gov/DTS 2020-25 events. Our social media accounts are on Facebook and Instagram. Their next regular board meeting will be on Tuesday, August 26, 2025. Since we didn't establish the action committee before we started the meeting, please note that it will be happening on the, again, second Thursday of the month, 6 p.m. here in that smaller room right there. And I think we are good. Thank you again, Alelo, for broadcasting, and Spencer for your excellent job as commended by, Representative Kim Koko Iwamoto and the board as well. So we're very grateful for that. With that said, it is now 8:53 and the Moana-Kaka'ako Neighborhood Board first meeting for the 2025-2027 is now adjourned.